What is up, everybody? Episode number 9 of Stats Over Politics. As always, I am Shaun Holko, virtually alongside my guys, Mr. Jaevon, Vonnie Toddy, as you can see from his name here on the YouTube stream, Kevin Dent, Garry Singh. What's up, fellas? I appreciate you all bearing with me as my guy James notes on YouTube. Every Tuesday live on YouTube. Yes, we are a little behind schedule this week. That's because of me getting caught up with work, but I appreciate my co-host working with me. And here we are. How are we doing this week, Garry?
What's up? What's happening with the fellas? A lot of cooking to do today.
Ooh, a lot of cooking and some bets to bring back up, Garry. Jaevon.
For sure.
There was
get out the way,
right?
Vonnie. Yeah, go ahead, Vaughn. Get out the way.
Hey, man, listen, I was just minding my business on a Sunday night, not really worried about nothing. And I realized, man, the playoffs the Niners won 10 straight. I recall just doing some digging. I was like, you know what? I brought it up on the podcast last week. Like, man, I was like, Garry, you owe me $20. He was like, man, what you talking about? I said it on the podcast, man. That the night you bet, he was like, bet me, man. Let's do it. He's like, the Niners gonna win out. Y'all gonna lose to the Chargers on Sunday night.
The quote was bet dub. Bet dub.
The quote was bet dub, and I guess just Garry just has this thing, man, where he says when the team's not gonna do something, like the Jags not gonna make the playoffs, the Niners are gonna win out. Whenever Garry says something, it just comes to life.
Hold on, don't misquote me on the Jags now.
I don't know. Whenever Garry says something, it just ends up coming to light, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Just to set the record straight, Garry mainly just said that the Steelers would have a better record than the Jags, but they ended up with identical records. That's what me and Kevin said.
No money.
Yeah. So Kevin, bro, how you doing? What are your thoughts on that bet that you and Garry made on episode 0 with the Jags and Steelers?
The Browns let me down, man. The Browns let me down.
They let me down.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The Titans gave me a scare. I thought they were gonna lose.
That was a good game.
I thought I was gonna lose my money, but I'm doing good, man. I'm in the middle of packing, getting ready for my honeymoon. So I'm really excited, man. Excited to kick this off with you guys and watch the magic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so we got a lot of topics to get into this week, as we always do. We're gonna start.
Reply to me owing money or nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Can I reply real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead, Garry. Go ahead.
Vonnie already knows. I already sent my money through, with the cash due. But man, looking back at it though, that was a good odds to take though. Come on now, guys. It was the Chargers like 8 games ago. So I'll give it to you guys. I was like the odds. Vonnie knows he bets all the time. That was some good odds for me. Like $20, 8 games, 8 chances at it. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
me and Kev, that was 8 chances. I was like, whatever, it was good. But
Kev
me and Kev's bet
too. I was about to say, Kev got paid this week too. Now he has to give me a Benjamin.
Okay, exactly. But yeah, me and Kev's bet was really good too.
We're gonna get it back.
Me and Kev's bet. I was just saying the Jags 1 year away, but yeah, we got tied. That was pretty good. It was a pretty good bet we made, Kev. I ain't gonna lie. But I'll give it to you though. They made the playoffs, so they do got a little inch over us. So.
Well, Kevin is nice enough to let it offset because they had the same records and not hold it on to technicalities. I don't know. You got to look at the look on Kevin's face. Maybe not. He held Toddy to it even when Trey Lance broke his ankle a game and a half into the season. So
we bet on the records. That's why Kev tamed truth to the word.
Gotcha.
Truth to the word.
And it's Toddy.
Kevin's smart. He's like I gotta pay attention to the wording of the bet, and it came down to the record, and that's what it was. And so, anyways, guys, we got plenty to talk about today as we're gonna get into the NFL. We're gonna make our predictions for the entire playoffs. So, James, he told Toddy apparently not to take the Browns. Well, James, we're gonna tell you who to pick in these playoffs, so then you can make your bets. Get your parlays ready right now because we are all gonna make our predictions on the NFL playoffs, which start this Saturday with the San Francisco 49ers take on the Seattle Seahawks. And then we're going to get to the college football playoff. The semifinals were good. That's all I'll say about that. And then we are going to get into the NBA as the All-Star game is quickly approaching and the teams will soon be finalized. So we're going to get to all of that. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. But real quickly, just want to say what's up to Julian. I'm surprised he showed up to represent Cowboys Nation after that pathetic performance against the Durs. I guess we're just going to call them the Durs now. And what's up to Wes, Skull. I see Wes and Kevin just going back and forth in our Instagram account, like DMs. They just go back and forth all the time.
It's funny because the very first time we did it, I was like, "Oh, it's my Instagram," and then I went back and forth. I was like, "Oh shit, this is our Instagram."
Oh, we've seen everything you say, my guy. It's all good though.
I mean, forget.
Hey, we appreciate Wes for tapping in and engaging with the content, whether if he thinks that
Hey,
we
Wes is
are
keeping on
right
our 10
or
toes. He's keeping us on our 10 toes.
Hey, Wes, we're gonna have to see if Kevin's prediction for the upcoming playoff game this weekend with the Vikings. We're gonna find out, Wes, if it's stats over politics or politics over stats. We'll leave it to you, Wes, to be the one to figure that out. And it is all love. We appreciate you, Wes, for tuning in, and everyone who's tuned in on YouTube and on Twitter. So, fellas, episode number 9. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it with Shaun's Pop Quiz. We're kicking things off with Shaun's Pop Quiz this week. And, gentlemen,
matchups.
all I got to say, yeah, see, you like how I didn't say that at the beginning, Gary. I had to throw you off. And so, all I got to say about this week's Pop Quiz is each question is personalized for each of you. Just one. That's all I'm gonna say. So no excuses. We're gonna kick things off with Kevin. Kevin, as we know, your Eagles, they clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC this past weekend. The 49ers are the 2 seed. As you were telling us, the real playoffs don't start till next week. We'll leave that there. But I just want to know, Kevin, what was the outcome the last time the Eagles were the number 1 seed in the NFC? Like, what happened to them in the playoffs?
Oh, man. You want me to get up and get the jersey? I got a jersey. I got a T-shirt. I got a hat. I can show you everything. You know what happened. Super Bowl, baby.
And when was that?
2017.
There you go. So that's a point for Kevin. That was easy money right there.
Delay off the glass.
Well, okay. And so before that, I mean, I said each question was personalized to all you guys. So now you see it. But anyway, so the thing about that. What's up? Shout out to my grandpa and my dad. But anyways, this is still on because I was just at work. Otherwise, I wouldn't be flexing. But anyway, so Toddy, the thing about that is that before 2017, the last time that the Eagles were the number 1 seed was in 2004. What happened in 2004, Kevin?
Tom Brady
happened. So
we got our money back.
If not for 2017, then that question would have been a little bit harder. But I didn't want to move off of that question just because I thought it was a law. But nevertheless, Kevin gets the point, and he still is in the lead with 5 points. All right. Or is Kevin in the lead, or is Toddy in the lead?
Yes, sir. Kevin's in the lead. Toddy didn't get a point last week. I'm on a roll.
Yeah. Actually, I think. Actually,
Kevin's
now you're tied.
I think you're down by 1.
No. Now you're tied. So it was after last week because last week Kevin picked up a point. Last week Gary picked up a point. Toddy did not. So now Kevin has 4. Toddy has 4. Gary has 2. So let me update that to have Kevin at 4, and that's through 9 weeks. All right. Now on to Gary. So Gary, Brock Purdy, he has won his first 5 career starts in the NFL, and he's doing all of that as a rookie. So I just want to know if you know the names of, there's 2 guys who have had longer winning streaks to begin their career, 2 longer than Brock Purdy. I was just wondering if you could name either of those 2 quarterbacks.
Big Ben, Terry Bradshaw.
So what is your, I'm looking for one name. What is your final answer?
Big Ben.
All right, there you go. Big Ben is one of the names. And
come on now.
And okay, so Big Ben had 13 wins in a row to begin his career in 2004. Bonus question: can anyone name? And just Kevin, so you know, this is an official bonus question. Can anyone name the other quarterback who had a longer winning streak to begin their career? It's a tough one. There's no way in hell I would get this one.
It's like Mike something.
Oh, Toddy's on it.
It's Mike.
Toddy's on the same.
I can't pronounce his last name.
Oh, 5.
I'm just gonna move off of that one. It was Mike Kruzchek.
I couldn't.
Another Steeler.
It was like Cruz something.
Yeah,
I saw
Mike
that
Cruz.
stat though. That's how I knew it. That's the only way I knew it, because I saw that.
Yeah, I got that stat from Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt.
That was it?
No, it was not Mike Trudell, the Lakers reporter. Mike Kruzchek. Anyway, so Garry picks up a point. Now Garry moves to 3. So now, Toddy, on to you. Pressure's on. Either you're going to reclaim the lead or you and Kevin are going to be tied going into next week with Garry right on your tail. So, Jaevon, the 49ers, they beat the Cardinals on Sunday, and they finished with a undefeated record in the division at 6-0. I just want to know, when was the last time the 49ers went undefeated in the division? Ooh, toughie. It's a toughie.
Ooh,
this stat was
that's a
everywhere. This stat was everywhere.
Last time we went undefeated in the division.
You got 10 seconds to give me a year.
Is it 2012?
No, it is not 2012. It actually was a year before we were born. I'm sorry, Kevin. I didn't.
I was going to get it. It was before we were born. Yeah, I was going to get that.
Okay.
97.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah. Good job, Garry. You know, a year before we were born. 1997 was the last time that the 49ers went undefeated. So, in the division, that is. So, what that means is after 9 weeks, Toddy has 4 points, Kevin has 4 points, and Garry has 3.
I'm on the way, guys. Come on now. Come back.
Garry, you know, if you end up tying it up, then Kevin and Toddy are going to be like, oh, one of those points are illegitimate.
Yeah. Hopefully we all get 50 points around along the way.
All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate you all for participating in this week's edition of Shaun's Pop Quiz. Now let's move on to what you thought we were going to get to originally, Garry, and that is the NFL playoffs. So, wild card round starts this weekend with the 49ers playing against the Seattle Seahawks, who can thank the Detroit Lions for their playoff berth. So, fellas, let's just start things off, and we're going to try to get through these pretty quickly. So, give me your pick and like 10 to 15 seconds why you're making that pick. Jaevon, I'm picking the 49ers. I would assume you are too, just to keep things rolling here.
I mean, the Niners, do they win by 10? Probably. Do they win by 17? I would love it. Niners got Pro Bowlers everywhere. We're just outmatched at every position pretty much. I mean, the Seahawks are kind of just, hanging on for dear life. Geno snuck into the playoffs. You could thank Jalen Ramsey for that late hit at the end of OT in that Rams-Seahawks game, last game of the year. So, I mean, hey, the Seahawks are here. We get to play them a third time. Last time the Niners played the Seahawks in the playoffs, it got real personal. They were throwing trash at Navarro Bowman after he just tore his ACL at the goal line. So that was the infamous, you tried me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree. That was
I remember that.
Everyone remembers it as Legion of Boom. So, yeah, that was the last time. So, I mean, hey, it's Seattle. We hate Seattle. So, Niners by a million.
And that is also the game where all of my hatred for the Seattle Seahawks stems from.
Mm-hmm.
So the 49ers, they're favored by 9.5 in this game. So picking them by 10, then you're picking them with the points. Garry, I want to get to you. Who are you picking in this game? 49ers versus Seahawks in Santa Clara.
I got the 49ers winning this one right now. They're rolling. I do want to warn everyone this weekend, any betting going along, there's 3 matchups this weekend that are all in division. In division games, you could throw everything to chalk. It's going to be close ones. It's going to be pretty nail-biters because all these teams that know each other really well, like the 49ers and the Seahawks, like the Dolphins and the Bills and the Bengals and the Ravens, they're really going to know each other. So I'm going to say Seattle covers their spread, but the Niners are going to win this thing pretty comfortably in the whole game. Like, there won't be I don't think there's gonna be any 2-minute drills needed or anything like that from the Niners. I think they're rolling on all cylinders at the moment, and they're gonna take care of business. Shout out to the Seahawks though and Geno Smith for even getting to the dance, especially Geno playing like MVP level in the beginning of the year. Obviously telling off, and they had a little spark in the beginning of the year. Shaun, he did have a little spark conversation.
I cannot believe I just heard Geno Smith and MVP in the same sentence.
He had a little spark, bro. Thank you, Vaughn. He had a little spark, bro. He didn't have the best year.
Sympathy spark.
Okay, at least he had some type of spark, bro. He got them to the playoffs, Shaun. Respect it. And Pete Carroll with another team. I know you hate the Seahawks, and this would be so better if the Legion of Boom was still obviously, because those years was prime time. This would be #1 game of the night type of game, but it's gonna be a close one. I got the Niners.
He didn't write back, Shaun.
He in fact did not write back. Kevin, are you gonna make it unanimous?
Unfortunately. You have to go Niners. I don't think the Seahawks have a chance. But it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. So they have that little bit of a chance. But the Niners defense has been playing insane, and Purdy's been Purdying. So I got the Niners.
Purdy Purdy
cover
has been
Kev or no?
Purdying.
All he does is throw touchdowns. Rookie of the year.
Kev,
Yeah,
they
Kevin.
cover?
Yeah, do the cover.
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
9.5.
Oh, of course.
Oh, okay. There you go. So Gary's the only one saying it's going to be close. The rest of us say that the 49ers. I'm taking the 49ers minus the points as well. All right. And also, before we move on, I just wanted to say and reiterate something that Kevin just said is that was the problem that the 49ers ran into last year against the Rams is they had beaten them like 6 times in a row, 2 times last season, and they were so confident that they were going to beat them for a third time. But the difference is the 49ers are at home for this third matchup versus being on the road. So I do think that will make a difference. So the next game, the other game that is coming up this Saturday is going to be the night game on Saturday, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got the 5 seed versus the 4 seed. Let's flip the order. Kevin, I'm going to start with you. The Chargers are actually favorites in this game on the road. They are favored by a point. Are you going with Vegas or are you picking your Jags?
Hey, man, I got to ride with the Jags. I've been riding with them all season. I got to keep it going. Dougie P, man, you deserve some respect. This team was 3-14 last season. You switch out coaches, it's a whole different thing. Trevor Lawrence is being the guy that we thought he was going to be. His whole receiving core plus running back are having career years. He's thrown for 4,113 yards and 25 touchdowns. If it wasn't for all the Chargers injuries, I would kind of have to struggle going which ways, but I'm for sure taking the Jags.
All right. Garry, how about you?
Man, it seems like I'm going to be a Jaguar hater here, but like I said, Jags, I feel like they're still 1 year away. So I'm going to give it to the Chargers right now. So Kevin said it's pretty hard because if Mike Williams is not playing, it's going to be really tough. But this Jaguars secondary has been having a struggle this year. And even though the Chargers, you can't say anything better about them. Their rush defense has been letting everyone plow through them right now. But I'm gonna take Herbert in this matchup. They're both top-notch quarterbacks, both top 5 quarterbacks within the next couple of years here. But I'm gonna go Herbert, man. I see a lot of matchup from him. His first playoff series, I think he's gonna come out and show out in his first playoff game.
Jaevon, you were a big fan of the Chargers down the stretch of this season and for this entire season for the most part. So are you rocking with them in the playoffs?
Gotta rock with the Chargers here. I think Justin Herbert is definitely one of the best quarterbacks in these playoffs, period. The Chargers are getting healthier, albeit Mike Williams did not practice today. That is as of Tuesday day. He did not practice today, so we'll see if he is going to be a go on Saturday. I think that this Jags team is very talented. Obviously, they won the division. Huge turnaround, as Kevin already said. Adding Doug Peterson was a huge help. He should be in the Coach of the Year candidacy, going into it. I think that Trevor Lawrence definitely turned his year around. You saw what Urban Meyer was and how bad of a coach he was in the NFL and the turnaround that he's had in just a year. And now they're in the playoffs. But I do think that Justin Herbert, getting, Joey Bosa's supposed to be coming back. You got Khalil Mack. You have all of these guys. I saw a stat that the Jags were like one of the bottom teams in the NFL covering the slot. And the guy that plays in the slot is Keenan Allen. And Keenan Allen is going to have a field day going into it. And I think that
a couple big bombs can change his game.
I think that we saw a little bit of it of Justin Herbert kind of fighting for that playoff spot last year when they played against the Raiders in that last game of the season. Him just being able to make clutch throws over and over and over again. I think we're going to see that here in the playoffs, and I think the Chargers edge out a win. We'll take them with the points too. Chargers +1, I think it was. So, yeah, I'm taking the Chargers.
And so every single year, especially in this wild card round, we see road teams win, and now even Vegas is rolling with that, and they're favoring the Chargers.
Sorry about that.
No worries. It's pretty close to a pick 'em, but I'm gonna rock with Kevin on this one. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars because the thing about the Chargers, let's not forget, is the Chargers for years, and that's why it took them so long to make the playoffs again. And last year was an example of it as well. Is the Chargers for years if there's a way to lose, the Chargers find a way to lose. And I just really like this Jags team.
About the Jags, though.
You could say the same thing about the Jags, but I just really like the development of Christian Kirk into a true number 1 wide receiver. And Trevor Lawrence, I mean, just like Kevin said, you switch the head coach, you get a guy like Urban Meyer, who was never fit to be an NFL head coach, out of there. You get a Super Bowl winner in Dougie P in there, and now we see the results for it. And everyone's going to be picking the Chargers. Obviously not me and Kevin, but for the most part, I think a lot of people are going to be picking the Chargers as a road team to win this weekend. But I have a gut feeling that the Jaguars are going to pull this one out. So I'm rocking with the Jags.
They are on a 5-game winning streak, so I wouldn't be shocked here. But just the Chargers, I just feel like they have the better QB at the moment. It's going to be real tough to say that, though, in a couple of years because Trevor Lawrence is he had better numbers this year, to be honest. But, yeah, we're going to have to see.
Yeah, that AFC is just absolutely loaded with great young quarterbacks. So now, gentlemen, let's move on to Sunday and the Sunday morning game for those of us here on the West Coast. And we have another division matchup, as this is in the AFC East with the Dolphins playing at the Bills. The Bills got an amazing win this past weekend after Damar Hamlin. He is now back in Buffalo at a Buffalo hospital, and he is breathing on his own, talking on his own, and it's just everything. Tweeting on his own, and I love it so much, and I'm so happy for him. You could see the positive effect that it had on the team. The kickoff return by Nyheim Hines to start the game was awesome. So the Bills, they're rolling here, and even if the Bills weren't rolling, I'm not impressed by this Dolphins team. Like, this Dolphins team barely made the playoffs. This Dolphins team lost 5 games in a row until they barely beat the New York Jets, led by Joe Flacco, 9-6.
11.
And so,
6-11.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you. There was because of the pitchy woo woo at the end of the game that turned into a safety. Thank you, Jaevon. It was actually 11-6. And because of that, I think that the Bills are the far superior team. It's not even going to be close like it was it was about a month ago when these two teams played in Buffalo, and it was a close one down the stretch. But also, given the situation with Tua and the ongoing concussions, we don't even know if he's going to be available for this game. Skylar Thompson out there playing for the Dolphins. I'm picking the Bills. This seems like the easiest pick of the weekend. Jaevon, I'm going to throw it back to you on this one. Who are you rolling with?
Oh, man, I got to roll with the Bills here. Bills Mafia, there's no way they're losing this game. They're going to do it for DeMar. I think there was a slight chance he may or may not be at this game. I'm not sure.
Probably in a box.
Yeah, you already mentioned it. The Dolphins limped into the playoff just by the grace of God. I mean, just somehow figuring out a way to get in. That you're on your third string quarterback. There's no way that Skylar Thompson is going to go into Buffalo and beat Josh Allen. Get out of here, man. I think what was the spread on this game too? You could definitely.
It's the same. It's the same. Same difference as the Niners and Seahawks. Bills are favored by 9.5.
Hammer the spread. I should have hammered the Georgia spread on Monday night. Definitely hammering this Bills spread too. 9.5. Give me the points. I'm going with Buffalo.
All right.
Nobody
Garry?
Circles the wagon, Shaun.
Like it was just funny, Vaughn. I don't know if you heard yourself real quick, but you said how are they going to win third string quarterback? I don't know. I thought the Niners were on the same third string quarterback. Anyways.
Yeah. There's a big difference. There's a big difference in the defenses. But
talk your shit, G.
No. I'm just saying third king quarterback. That logic of third king quarterback. How the hell can they get to the playoff? How do they get to the Super Bowl? How can they win a game? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Well, you want to know? You want to know what the
difference
is? That
obviously the team is better around, but I'm just saying that particular little quote. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, what I'm going to say is that the difference is that the 49ers third string quarterback has won 5 games in a row, while the Dolphins third string quarterback could barely beat the New York Jets.
It's a sensitive topic. It's a sensitive topic for them, Gary. You got to watch out.
Yeah, but look at them get riled up. They got riled up.
Kevin, just like how you feel when you think that Toddy says a blasphemous statement, to me that was a blasphemous statement because Brock Purdy is scoring touchdowns nonstop. Skylar Thompson cannot score a touchdown.
13 touchdowns. He's
Don't
got
take
like
it. I said the Dolphins are better than the Niners now. I said raise my eyebrow when I heard that. I was just
Brock Purdy destroyed the Dolphins.
I'm just listening to you very carefully. I'm just listening to you very carefully. I'm listening to everyone very carefully right now. It's okay. I'm just wondering. Anyways, Shaun,
so Garry, who are you picking? Bills or Dolphins?
Anyways, I have the Jets comment too, and let me not get off topic. All right, the Bills. The Bills are going to win this one right here. Obviously, we already talked about it. They have a backup quarterback and stuff like that. Tua,
a third-string quarterback to be there.
Third-string quarterback, right? You're right, third-string quarterback. And to be honest, you already know that the Miami Dolphins have just been, you guys already mentioned it all. They haven't been on track since the beginning of the year, since like all the injuries started up, which kind of sucks. Waddle and Hill were on a great trajectory in the beginning of the year as a duo, and obviously they didn't end that way because of all the injuries that happened. This team I still think is going to fight, though. I know the Bills are on the emotional high of what's happening, as it should be, and I think everyone in the country is probably rooting for the Bills right now, just from an emotional standpoint, as they should. It's a great story to hear. It's just that was, I don't know, we even talk about it real quick, that first play of the game, the Bills game, running the touchdown all the way back. Man, the punch off return, that was just bone chilling. That was pretty chilling to watch. Like, that's just crazy. That's God speaking. Football guys, whatever you want to say.
Sports is amazing.
Whatever you believe in, exactly, Shaun. Sports are amazing. So that was just crazy, amazing to see. Exactly, to see them go buck wild in there. So it was pretty cool to see. But they're gonna win this game, and but the Bills, they still don't have a tendency to be as sharp and nip and tuck as they should be, especially in the playoffs. I know Josh Allen's been playing great this whole year, and he's been having some ups and downs too if you really look in certain numbers, especially in the red zone and stuff like that. But Josh Allen is still one of the best players in this league, so they're gonna handle business. But I'm taking underdogs in the spread, y'all. It's the playoff time, man. It's by inches in this game, so I'm gonna get Buffalo to cover this one right here.
All right, so Kevin, I assume you're gonna make it unanimous. Kevin, no worries, bro. It will definitely be cold. And so Kevin, I assume you're going to make it unanimous here, and you're going to make it 4-4 in favor of the Bills. So I think the better question would be, are you taking the Bills minus the 9.5?
Oh yeah, easily. 100%. The Dolphins last 4 playoff games. In 2000, the Raiders, they lost by 27. 2001, they played the Raiders, lost by 17. 2018, Ravens lost by 18. 2016, they lost to the Steelers by 28. First team in NFL history to lose 4 straight playoff games by 17 more points. And it might go to 5.
That had the stat today. There you go. Okay.
That's what we call research.
Got you some betting stats right now.
Now, hold on. The last time they did play in Buffalo, it was cold. And, Mike McDaniel,
I did hear a lot of a long time ago.
Said, I wish it were colder.
It wasn't cold for Skyler.
They did cover the spread that game. That's all I'm going to say.
It was Tua, though.
Yeah, it was Tua, so.
Yeah, sorry about that, Kevin. That was just such an amazing stat that I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have anything else you want to say about this game?
No, that was what I was going to end off on.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. And that is a hell of a stat about the Dolphins. And just want to give beware.
Be aware. Don't be taking our advice fully. Do what you may with your pockets.
All right.
If you want to make some money.
Now's the time that Wes has been waiting on. Wes, I hope you are still one of the people watching on this YouTube and Twitter stream, because now it's time to get to the Giants at the Vikings. We got the 6th seed New York Giants, who decided they didn't want to compete in Week 18. And then you have the 3 seed Minnesota Vikings. And it's crazy because I still believe the Vikings are frauds. Let me just put that out there. The Vikings are frauds. But I know, Wes. It's about time. It's about time that the Vikings are still frauds. But hey, with all that said, I'm picking the Vikings to win this game because I'm not a fan of the New York Giants, at all. The way that I look at the Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, I don't see them as a true contender because of Kirk Cousins as their starting quarterback. And I know, Gary, I'm saying Kirk Cousins makes me not like the Vikings. What does that mean about the 49ers? I know. Oh, yeah, I know. But just because of Kirk Cousins, I don't like the Vikings, and I think that they're frauds because, as Kevin has said numerous times on this podcast, when the lights get the brightest, the Vikings crumble every single time, especially when they are in prime.
What time is this game at?
It's an afternoon game. It's an afternoon game on Fox, which is why I think the Vikings will win this one. But they are not going to win in the divisional round. I'll just say that right now. But I just said but 3 times. I got the Vikings winning. So, Kevin, let Wes know where are you going on this one.
Man, like everyone's like Shaun's mentioned, it depends what kind of Kirk you get. And I'm not willing to bet my money on Kirk, so I'm going to go with the Giants, man. Daniel Jones this year has been on the tear, man. He's on the year with throwing for 3,205 yards, 15 touchdowns. They don't have a real wide receiver one, but Richie James, Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slay have all been making plays with their name recalled. And Saquon is – I think that that's going to be the real determining factor. If they can get that run game going and the play action, I think the Vikings are going to get down, and it's going to get ugly. So I'm taking the Giants.
All right, Gary, how about you?
That's the thing, though. Kev said, the Giants have been really just good, pretty solid all year. I think I seen a stat: Daniel Jones, like the 14th QB in the last like all football to have like the rushing touchdowns and I don't know over 400 rushing yards and over a certain amount of passing yards. So he's been having a great year this year. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I know I said earlier they're frauds and stuff like that. But the funny thing is, I actually seen a stat that is actually probably gonna be shocking you guys. They won 8 game-winning drives this year. So they've been in a lot of nip and tuck games, and Kirk Cousins actually has been showing up, which is I know all of us been, even me, have been saying that Kirk Cousins doesn't show in prime time because you can look at those numbers. But game time situations, their offense has been really great. Both of these, I'm looking right now, both of these offenses have been top 15 offenses all year. Obviously, the Vikings defense is just putrid. They're letting everyone score on them. We can go walk a touchdown on them right now from here, from Sacramento all the way. We can run a touchdown on them right now. But I think just because that the Vikings defense hasn't been good and hitting all cylinders doesn't mean the Giants with not that much playoff experience is going to show up in this game. So I think the Vikings are going to win this one, and I think they're going to be able to cover. And yeah, I think I'm just going to believe in. I just think the Vikings' talent is going to overcome their horrible defense in this one game. Because it's not like the Giants are juggernauts or so great on either side of the ball either. So I feel like it's a pretty close matchup on this one right here. But if I'm going to take those guys with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and those guys to overcome.
All right. So Toddy, are you going to split this or are you going to, he's hitting the skull right now. For our audio only listeners, you can hear him clapping. He's doing the overhead clap to represent for skull. I mean, maybe Wes can correct me on that. I mean, I don't know what the correct terminology is on that. So Toddy, you're going with the Vikings. Why?
Give me the Vikings, man. Dayball, it's a great story. Cinderella story, you know. Daniel Jones, Saquon, they're all going to the playoffs. The Giants team, they play hard, man. Just all year going 9-6-1, absolute turnaround. We thought this team was going to be picking the lottery. I think the over/under of them was like 4.5 wins this year, and for them to go 9-6-1 is a miracle by Brian Daboll, and him to do it with Daniel Jones is insane. But I think Kirk Cousins is the slightly better quarterback here. I think the Vikings have better players. They got Dalvin Cook, Thielen, obviously Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson. I just think that the Vikings have better players here. And a good stat here, the Vikings are 8-1 at home this year. A lot of people didn't know that. So, you know, this is going to be a home game. I think the Vikings win by at least a touchdown here. So I'm definitely going to take the point spread with them. But I think this game will be a lot close. It'll come down to the wire for sure. We've seen playoff Kirk on the road against the Saints a couple of years ago, get a huge win against the Saints on the road a couple of years ago in the playoffs. So maybe we'll get it
if he calls in that one. Though I remember that.
We'll definitely see we'll see some playoff Kirk here, and I think they're going to be celebrating on the plane because they're going to be coming on down.
Not again.
They're going to be coming on down. So I think the Vikings going to win here.
All right. So I just want to say, Kevin, I really respect your commitment to being a Vikings hater because we all have proclaimed that we all believe that the Vikings are frauds, but Kevin was the only one bold enough to pick them to lose.
In division. No politics there for stats right there. No politicking for Kevin right there.
Yeah, there you go. And you know, like I said earlier, in the wild card round, every single year there are road teams that win, and the Giants could be that road team that wins, according to Kevin. Wes loves our picks, the fact that it's 3-1, but he just said, "Shake my head, Kevin."
You're not gonna be a little happy later, though. Hold on now.
Oh yeah. Hey Wes, this is just the wild card round. Just stay locked in.
Who do they play if they win?
Well, I'll get to that.
Depending on situation.
I'm jotting it all down. I'm actually keeping track. I got the playoff situation. So, Toddy, I will answer that once we get through these last two matchups. So, Sunday Night Football this week. It is another.
All right, Sunday night NBC.
There you go. And we got another divisional playoff game in the wild card round as we have two teams from the AFC North battling with the Ravens at the Bengals. This is a matchup we just saw in Week 18. However, it could be very different. As Anthony Brown started at quarterback for the Ravens this past weekend, but Lamar Jackson could be back this weekend. I say could We don't know if he will. And so, anyways, I'm just going to put it out there. Whether if Lamar Jackson is back or not, I'm picking the Bengals to win this game because to me, the Bengals are right there with the 49ers as the hottest teams in the NFL.
They won 7 in a row
going into the playoffs. Exactly. And thank you for hitting on that, Jaevon. And so for that reason, I am going to go with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. And I just want to mention, while I mention Joe Burrow's name, one of my favorite moments from last year's playoffs where he was wearing all those chains after the AFC Championship game.
Shiesty.
And they said a reporter asked him, they were like,
Is
that real? Is that real? And he was like, I make too much money for these not to be real.
Said it was fake.
That was actually kind of
Right, I hella funny to that fake.
Yeah, I know, right? That would have been funny. But anyways, I'm going with the Bengals. Kevin, who are you rocking with in this one?
Oh man, I think it's gonna be anonymous here. I'm definitely taking the Bengals. Like Toddy said, they're on an 8-game winning streak, and they just got to play the Ravens. Literally a couple days ago in Cincinnati. Now they got to pack their bags and they're going right back. Joe Burr, he has the experience. They went there last year. They have Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. They just have too much going on, and they have one of the hottest defenses in the league right now. So I think momentum's gonna carry them into the playoffs, and I think they're gonna get this one.
All right, Gary, you're gonna keep it rolling with the Bengals here. Gary, I know that this is a tough game for you to pick, and just like Wes said, he wants to know what the Steeler fan said. So for you, Gary, I know your team barely missed out on the playoffs, and you got 2 teams in your division who made the playoffs. So who are you picking here?
I know these teams I feel like very well because I feel like I watch them obviously all the time when they play my Steelers, and these teams I got a lot of respect for, especially with the quarterbacks they got right now. It's going to be man, you guys are making me nervous. I'm a bettor. I'm totally nervous. I'm hearing everyone pick the Bengals in a landslide. Obviously, I think, Shaun, to answer your question, I got the Bengals win this one. I'm hoping for a great NFL weekend, guys. I'm hoping everything's nip and tuck. I got the Ravens covering again right here on this spread. And I think, obviously, all the signs are pointing towards the Bengals because – like you guys mentioned, 7-game winning streak. They're hitting on all cylinders, defensive, offensively. They've really just been playing clutch. Joe Burrow, you could just tell, is just starting to get to that next level. It's pretty tough to stop them anyway. I would love to see Lamar Jackson in this spot play if he's healthy and all that. And everything was lined up. I wish everything was lined up for him. I would want to see him right now, contract lined up, everything ready to go because they're ready to start the rocket right now. This would be a perfect time for them to have a chance and Lamar Jackson gets some more respect and maybe going to run. But due to the circumstance of him not playing because of maybe personal reasons, maybe also because of injuries, I think that this team just not ready yet, so they're gonna have to wait on it. And I got the Bengals right now in this one, but don't be surprised if it's going to be a close one because, again, this is an in-division game, and you just played them last week, and it's so hard to beat a team back-to-back weeks, whoever's playing out there, because no matter what, they know a little bit more what their quarterback can do and how he should play against his team. Obviously, the coverages, they probably didn't reveal too much because they know the potential of this matchup, but it's still going to be, I think, a tough nip-and-tuck game again, but I got the Bengals and Joe Burrow winning their first playoff game after losing the Super Bowl last year.
Jaevon, before I get your pick on whether or not this is going to be unanimous, I just want to say that I'm really glad that the Bengals won this weekend, just so we didn't have to see the coin flip that would have came from the Ravens winning. And for those who don't already know about it, because the Bills and the Bengals game did not get finished and it ultimately got canceled, and the Bills and Bengals both finished with 16 completed games. Because of that, all of the scenarios, if the Ravens had won, then it would have been a coin flip to see who got home field. And so Bengals won. We got to avoid all that, but we did get a great touchdown celebration from Joe Mixon, being the king of pettiness, pulling a coin out of his sock and flipping it after scoring a touchdown. So, Jaevon, are you going to make it unanimous for the Bengals here?
Yeah, I think it's going to dig a little deeper than this. I'm taking the Bengals here. I did come on this podcast and say last week I think Lamar Jackson is going to play. After seeing the Roquan Smith whole fiasco, I think it's going to kind of this is the beginning of the end, I think, for the Ravens, just because, when you sign a guy who's only been here for like less than half the season, and you have a guy who's taken your team to the playoffs a few times, one MVP, been a guy that was picked, in the late first round, and for him to not have a contract signed or even, negotiations kind of just deaded before the season, I think it's tough telling here. And I think Lamar Jackson this is the beginning of the end. I think Lamar Jackson is gone. Kevin kind of said off camera that the Ravens could end up tagging him. I think this could come down to a situation where Lamar could say, you can tag me, but I'm not going to play. And I think he's probably going to take the Deshaun Watson route of just sitting out a year or maybe not even trying to play because Lamar Jackson is technically still under contract. I wasn't aware of that. And so he could definitely force his way out of Baltimore pretty soon. So things could definitely start to spiral out here. With that being said, I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals have the better team just because, Lamar is definitely not going to be available to play in this game. At least I don't think. And I'm going to take the spread as well for the Bengals. So I think the Bengals roll here.
All right, guys, now let's get to the last game of wild card weekend. Actually, excuse me, super wild card weekend since they extended it to have 7 seeds in each conference. And so Monday Night Football, Jaevon. So we got the Cowboys playing at the Buccaneers. If my memory serves correctly, that is a rematch from the first game of this season when the Buccaneers played at the Cowboys. And the Buccaneers did win that one. That was when Dak Prescott went down and got hurt. But both teams have been very different since then. Dak Prescott has since returned. Cowboys had a bad loss this past Sunday against the Commanders, but for the most part, they have had a good season. And so anyways, I just want to get my pick out there real quick. So far, I have picked nothing but home teams, and this is going to be the one road team that I do pick because, like I told you guys last week, Tom Brady is Tom Brady, but to me, age is finally showing, like for the very first time. It's not just what we're expecting to see or what we're hoping to see. It is what we have actually seen now. And the regression that I've seen from Tom Brady throughout this season, regardless of the fact that him and Mike Evans just went crazy against the Panthers, I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this one because I think that the Buccaneers are more so frauds than the Cowboys in this one because, I mean, the Buccaneers, the only reason why they made the playoffs is because their division was very bad this year. And so the Cowboys are going to be the only team that I'm picking to win a road game this weekend. So I'm rolling with the Cowboys. Kevin, I know that you are a diehard Eagles fan, as we are all well aware. So can you bring yourself to pick the Cowboys here, or are you going to go with TB12?
Absolutely not. You got to go with TB12, man. Single TB12, by the way. Dak and the Cowboys really haven't been playing well. He's since he's been playing, he's leading the league in NFL in the interceptions, and he's missed 5 games. So just imagine if he played those 5 games. The last he's thrown 3 pick six, 2 of them in back-to-back weekends. And the Bucs are rolling. They're playing really well right now. I think we're gonna get a playoff Lenny sighting. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin will continue to do their thing. And Tom Brady is 20-1 in the playoffs when he wins the turnover battle. And I think he's going to go 21-1.
All right, there you go. That's another great stat right there. Thank you, Kevin. Gary, how about you? Who are you picking in this one?
Everything points, I feel like, actually to the Cowboys, Kev. Like, they've been playing better all year.
Not last week. Not last week.
Okay, just take last week out of it. Let's talk about overall the whole year. Just talking about the whole year. They've been playing, having a better overall year. The defense, was hitting on all cylinders beginning of the year. Really good pass rush. Obviously, they tailed off a little bit towards the end here. Obviously, we know they got a high-pumping offense with all the running back duo they got. We know they got Mr. 88 back there with CeeDee Lamb right there playing, make some big plays. But the funny thing is, I'll give you a little background real quick. Every chance I've got with Tom Brady growing up, I always picked against him because obviously his Steelers always played my Patriots, and he would handle us like little kids. My bad. Flip that rewrite. Patriots always facing my Steelers, and we're always, getting the bad short end of the stick on that one. I used to be a Peyton Manning over Tom Brady guy. Always kind of lost that battle here and there. So I've always been against the GOAT. I've always been against this man. And even though Bucks win, I bet against him again. I'm finally rocking with him, and it might be a little too late, guys, but I'm rocking with the GOAT this year. I'm going to think he's going to come out. I think he got one more special run in him. It's going to be, if anyone knows how to play in the playoffs, like having LeBron in the playoffs. He knows how to slow down the game. He knows what plays he probably wants to go to. He's not one good thing. This team's like the receivers that he has and the good coaching staff they have in terms of they have experience winning Super Bowls. So they have something to lean on. And I feel like the Bucs are going to win this one and nip and tuck one. And we already know. I don't need to say it. That's already well documented with my family and everything like that. The Cowboys always choke. I already got 4 bets, guys. Dub everywhere. The Cowboys don't win a playoff game this year. I got one sitting right in front of me. My brother's sitting right in front of me right now, smiling.
Hi, Jesse.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just get all the money coming in. Cowboys, season's over, guys. Good one. See you again next year.
Wow, Gary, you actually threw me for a little bit of a swerve on that one. Based on the beginning of your answer, I already wrote down Cowboys for you, but I just had to scribble that out. Gary's going with the Buccaneers. So, Jaevon, who are you going with on this one? The last pick for Super Wild Card Weekend.
Hey man, I gotta rock with that boy TB12, man. The Cowboys.
I knew I'd be by myself.
I can't trust the Cowboys in the playoffs. I've seen them. I've seen what they're capable of. I've seen what they're capable of firsthand. Last year, divisional round, I saw what they are capable of, man. Tom Brady, a lot of people don't know, he threw for 4,600 yards this year, 25 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions. People are talking about, Shaun just said, Tom Brady, he's falling off of a cliff, age. He threw for almost 4,700 yards. You got Chris Godwin, a guy who had 100 catches this year. Mike Evans, another 1,000-yard receiver. And let's not forget playoff Lenny's back there, man. And this running back White, the backup running back that the Bucs have, I kind of like him, especially in the passing game. Mm-hmm. So the Bucs are at home. They're comfortable, man. I mean, this is Tom Brady. This is why a lot of these guys wanted to come to Tampa Bay, to get to the tournament. And I think as long as Brady's in the tournament, he's got a fighting chance. Now, albeit they did have a losing record this year, but Brady still managed somehow in the thick of things, figured out a way to win this division. And now they're one of the final teams in this tournament. And I think they already proved that they beat the Cowboys on the road earlier in the year. Now, albeit it did happen when Dak Prescott went out, but Dak wasn't playing that good up until he did get hurt. So we kind of saw some chinks in the armor last week. The Commanders against the Cowboys. The Cowboys were on the road, and Commanders really didn't have anything to play for. Cowboys were kind of just, Niners were up 38-13, and the Eagles were winning here. So the Cowboys were like, let's just throw in the towel. Well, it didn't look like they threw in the towel that quick. So Dak Prescott did not play well last week, and now he has to go on the road again in the playoffs against Tom Brady. Give me Tom Brady in the Bucs, man.
All right. Well, go ahead, Garry.
I was just saying that the funny thing about this is isn't it going to be some time the Cowboys actually prove us wrong and they're actually going to win a playoff game and they're actually going to go a little deep? It's like, Shaun,
I don't know about that. I don't know about go deep.
Or like you would think that after getting blown, like basically losing last game, the worst fashion they could lose last week, you would think they should have a good game this week. You know what I'm saying? But it's just funny that they're going to be playing the Bucs, and all the pressure should actually be on the Bucs because they're at home. It's the GOAT and all this other than that. But really, the pressure's on the Cowboys because everyone's been betting against them. So, man, it's just crazy to always see the Cowboys just in the weird situations they're in. Oh my God.
Haven't won a road playoff game since 1992.
When they beat the 49ers. Yeah.
Stats over politics.
Stats over politics. There you go. And I had a gut feeling that I was going to be the only one on Cowboys Island. And honestly, I'm glad because I didn't want all of us to pick the Cowboys. Why? Because fuck the Cowboys. And Julian, you heard that here first. Anyways. All right, gentlemen. So something that's very interesting about that, just looking at my note sheet here, is that each of us only picked one road team to win. It was different for everyone. Kevin picked the Giants. I picked the Cowboys. And then Jaevon and Garry, you both went with the Chargers. So we each only picked one road team to win. And then we have 5 home teams winning. I don't know. I don't feel so great about that. But we shall see because I just got Scott Van Pelt. I got Scott Van Pelt in my head where he's just like every single year there are multiple teams that win on the road in Wild Card Weekend. So we'll see how it shakes out. But we got it jotted down. We got it all right there. So now, gentlemen, I actually did keep track and I got the playoff matchups for each of us. So now let's just get through this quickly so then we can keep this segment under an hour. So my matchups on the NFC side will be the 49ers versus the Vikings and the Eagles versus the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the 49ers in that game against the Vikings. Why? Because the Vikings are frauds. We saw what happened the last time the 49ers matched against the Vikings in the playoffs. I think it'll be a game that is very similar to that.
Didn't the Niners go to the Super Bowl that year?
They did. They did. In fact, they did.
Foreshadowing.
And Yeah, definitely foreshadowing. And then my other NFC matchup is I have the Eagles versus the Cowboys. We got it. If that does happen, that would be an NFC East matchup. That would be a good one.
That would
Oh
be
my
a
God.
crazy one.
In that one, normally I'd be rooting for the Eagles, but I don't want to hear Kevin brag the following Tuesday.
Politics over
That's
stats.
politics. That's
We're
politics right
It's
there.
okay. We politic once in a while.
Well, I mean, I'm just laying it out there. That is what my heart wants to say, but my head is picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game.
dog.
Why? Because the Cowboys, I think that they'll be good enough to beat the Bucs because I'm just not too high on the Bucs in general. But that's exactly why I picked the Vikings, even though I think they're frauds, but they're going to lose in the divisional round. Same thing with the Cowboys. So then that takes us to the AFC side for my picks, and that would leave me with the Chiefs versus the Jaguars. I don't think I need to really give much analysis on that. I'm picking the Chiefs. Then this could be the biggest game of the weekend, and this was the one that was unanimous for all of us, as we all have the Bills versus the Bengals. So I'll give my pick, and then we'll all go around for this one. So the Bills and the Bengals, the difference is that this game will be played in Buffalo. Oh wait. Would that be at a neutral site?
Neutral
okay.
site.
I thought that was just for the AFC Championship game.
Seattle.
That's if any. Okay, it would be in Seattle. That's the neutral site.
I was just talking.
Okay. I was because Mark Davis, he was like, "Hey, come on over to Vegas and come play here." So thank you for noting that, guys, because for a second I thought that was only for the AFC Championship game, but it would make sense no matter where it happens in the playoffs. And so I was gonna go with the Bills playing at home in cold Buffalo. No, I'm still going to go with the Bills just because of everything that has happened with DeMar Hamlin. I just think that team is energized and they'll end up getting through to the AFC Championship game at least. So those are my 4 picks since we all have the Bills and the Bengals in the divisional round based on our wild card picks. Let's all make our picks for this game now. So, Kevin, I'm going to go to you next. Who are you picking in this Bills versus Bengals game?
Oh, man, it's going to be a shootout. But I think Joe Burrow's going to come up on top. Like I mentioned earlier, Joe Mixon and this wide receiving trio, they just have a lot going on. They have the experience. Josh Allen hasn't had the chance to get over that hump yet, and Joe Burrow has, and I think they're just going to continue to keep on rolling.
All right, there you go. So Kevin's going with the Bengals. Jaevon, how about you? Bills, Bengals.
Hey, man, I got to rock with the Bengals here. I think Joe Burrow, just the swag that he had. T-shirts and hats, man. He said this is something I expect to do and cigars. The window is every year, he said. And I was like, damn, that's some crazy shit to say. Like, he's one of the, this is his 3rd year. I mean, what does he really have to lose? I mean, if you think about the juggernauts who are the Kansas City Chiefs, he's undefeated against the Chiefs. Every time they play the Chiefs, they win. So, I mean, I picked them to beat the Bills on that Monday night game, and they kind of had a lot of momentum going into it, albeit before the tragedy that did happen. I think if they get them at a neutral site, I think that the Bengals will end up coming on top. It's going to be a very close game, though. It's going to be a shootout, as Kevin did add. They're both top 5 quarterbacks in my opinion. I think both of those guys going at it. I think Joe Burrow definitely gets the edge there.
All right, Gary, on a neutral site, Bills and Bengals, who are you rocking with?
If our predictions hold through, I'm choosing the Bengals in this one. I think the Bengals in a rematch against the Chiefs, but let me go too far ahead of the game here. But yeah, I got the Bengals winning that matchup. It's going to be a tough one. It's really going to show who's going – man, these 3 quarterbacks, these are fully logical. We already talked about there's so many quarterbacks in the AFC that are going to go neck and neck. And 10 years from now, we're really going to see who is going to be who are the top-notch dominant ones. But I think I got Joe Shiesty in this one. Barely, maybe even an overtime game right here versus the Bills, which would be really cool to see. So I got the Bengals.
Hey, Jaevon, no one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills, and I will proudly stand on Bills Island.
Bills Mafia.
To rep for the Mafia. I got to rep for the Mafia. So, Gary, you said you didn't want to jump ahead, but let's get to that next matchup now in the AFC divisional round. Because you picked the Chargers to win against the Jaguars this Saturday, that matchup for you would be the Chiefs versus the Chargers. And it sounds like you already picked the Chiefs because you said it's going to be a rematch in the AFC Championship game.
Yep. Chargers versus Chiefs. Again, another one. Justin Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes in division game. We're going to have four of the best quarterbacks left right now in the AFC. That's going to be something lovely to see. I got the baby goat himself, Patrick Mahomes, winning that one.
All right. So, Jaevon, because you also picked the Chargers, you have that same matchup. So, who are you going with in this AFC West battle?
Oh, my goodness. This game is going to be out of this world. Both times that they've played this year, they've been very close. The last time that they played, which was in LA, it came all the way down to the wire. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert did everything in his power. He won the game for their team until the defense came on the field and said, hold my beer. And then Patrick Mahomes went down and kind of just did what he does. But we're seeing Justin Herbert in the playoffs. He's getting it under I think that they will end up beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he's going to feel a little bit more confidence, a little bit more swagger. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. I think that they win in Arrowhead. Justin Herbert gets the job done. However,
a lot of good defense that day.
This would be, I think this would be, I want Sean Payton to go to the Chargers. But if this does happen, then I don't see the Chargers firing, what's his name, Brandon Staley. He would probably end up keeping his job if they end up going to the AFC Championship game. So I'm going to go with the Chargers there. I think the Chargers edge will win out there in Arrowhead.
Brandon Staley's just over here saying, damn, Toddy, I got them back to the playoffs, and you're calling for my job.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Sean Payton is a damn good coach. So, Kevin, you went with your Jacksonville Jaguars in that matchup against the Chargers. So, for you in the AFC divisional round, it's going to be the Chiefs versus the Jags. So, are you rocking with the Jags to pull off the huge upset here?
Nah, this is where the run ends. I think, like everyone's been saying, Patty Mahomes and Kelce have a connection of no other. The best tight end in the league and arguably the best quarterback. They're just going to keep it rolling. All the other weapons, Kadarius Toney has been a huge impact since he's been in. I think they're just going to keep it rolling. So I'm taking the Chiefs in that matchup.
All right, so Kevin, because you picked the Giants, I'm going to stick with you on this one. You would have the 49ers taking on the Giants in the divisional round. So who are you going with in that hypothetical matchup?
Niners all day.
Niners all day. I love that.
Actually, you know what? I'm so sorry. I had it flipped. I'm sorry because I put the Giants in there where everyone else had the Vikings in there. So
they would play.
I apologize.
We would play. It
would be the Eagles and the Giants. So
and you guys are Bucks.
It's still Giants out of here. So
okay, so 49ers versus the Bucks. Let's get to that one. 49. Sorry about that, Kevin.
We saw
49ers versus the Bucks. We have already seen that matchup. It was a landslide in favor of the 49ers. So is Tom Brady going to get his revenge?
I don't think so. I'm not going to put my money on that. I think the Niners are going to go away and get it. Like you guys mentioned, we've already seen it. So now Brock Purdy's got even more experience under his belt. So I think it's just going to continue, and it's going to be another landslide.
And so let's make things easy here.
Wins for Brock Purdy?
Y'all played who?
If it was only 3.
Okay. All right. Well, so Kevin, the other matchup that you would have, now that I have it correctly, is an NFC East battle between the Eagles and the Giants. But it'll be different. It'll be different than it'll be different than what we saw in Week 18 because maybe the Giants will actually play their starters this time. So Eagles versus Giants in Philly. Who you rocking with, Kevin? I mean, I shouldn't even ask this question, but Kevin, who you picking, Eagles or Giants?
I got to rock with the Eagles, man. It gives Jalen Hurts an extra couple weeks to get healthy. Lane Johnson, Avonte Maddox give us a lot more time to get healthy. I think we're just come in there and it's gonna be a massacre.
Is Lane Johnson? Is he gonna be
a massacre? Hold on, guys. I heard a massacre.
He said it's gonna be a massacre.
Just like it was the last time we played. Besides, not the week.
No, when it was at Meadowlands and Toddy, I got you. I'm gonna get to you in a second, but I just want to give a shout out to our Toddy and our friend Antoine, who we went to high school with, because Antoine is one of the few real New York Giants fans that I know. And Kevin, he was there. He was there in person to see the Eagles absolutely clap the Giants, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious for me because The reason why I say it was hilarious is because I asked him after the game, I said, is Daniel Jones the long-term answer? And he was like, Daniel Jones isn't the problem. And then he and I had a very long discussion, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, anyways, all right. So that means that Kevin and I would both have the 49ers at the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. But before we get to our championship games, Jaevon, I want to get your pick on the 49ers versus the Vikings.
We're gonna clean them up, man. Send Dayball on his way. You know, it's been a great year. You got to the playoffs, man. I didn't.
Dayball's with the Giants. It's Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings.
Vikings.
Yeah, I was gonna say we play the Vikings. That's right.
Yeah.
Same deal here. I mean, they know what it is, man.
They became the frauds.
We've seen them already, man. We've seen the Vikings in the playoffs. Kirk's gonna shrink. This is gonna be the Kirk that, you know, that doesn't really. It's not gonna end well for them. So, I think Justin Jefferson probably has a good game because we just struggle against certain receivers, just star wide receivers. We don't really play them well. But I think the Niners roll here and just we cruise on way to the NFC Championship game.
All right, Gary. So same game for you, Gary. 49ers versus Vikings in the divisional round. Who are you going with?
I want politics so bad. But I'll pick the 49ers. They should be rolling on this. They should be wrong. They should be. I've been hearing a lot of juggernauts. They're supposed to be juggernauts, I guess. The Niners are supposed to be. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what they're handling. They're handling business here. So I think they take this one right here.
All right. So Gary, I'm gonna stick with you on this one. Eagles versus Buccaneers in your hypothetical bracket.
The rematch.
That's a rematch, except this time it would be in Philly rather than bright and sunny Tampa.
So yeah, I really want. So I said it's gonna be great for the pod if I just pick the Eagles versus versus the Niners. It's gonna be really great, but it's the GOAT, man. It's the last time, kid. It's the last time, kid. I'm sorry, my guy. I really like the Eagles. Trust me, I was really going for them, but just injuries at the end of the year. I don't want to say it, but I think they're too early, Kev. I don't trust me. My Steelers did it a couple years ago. We did it a couple years ago. We peaked early. I know you're gonna try to stay tunnel vision. But the Eagles season is going to be over. It's going to be due to the hands of the GOAT. It's going to be due to the hands of the GOAT again.
All right. And so, Jaevon, same game, Eagles versus Buccaneers. Who you picking in that one?
I can't be as spicy as Gary.
Yeah.
I can't be as spicy as Gary there. But I do think it'd be a lot closer than people think just because it's Tom Brady, Eagles. Jalen Hurts hasn't won a playoff game, or he would have won. Yeah, that would have been a. This would be. That would have been a second. That would have been a second. Oh no, yeah, it would have been first. This would be his first playoff game that he would. Second playoff game he's played in. He would have to win this game for him to be his first win. So, I think just the year that they've been having, albeit they are limping into the playoffs a little bit.
16 turnovers in the last 9 games.
We heard not Lane Johnson. Nick Sirianni came out and said. He was a little bit hurt, kind of coming into the game. Jalen Hurts kind of admitted that he was
hurt.
He was for sure a little bit banged up during the game, but he said he had to overcome a lot. I think this Eagles team is a little bit too skilled for this Bucs team. You have the two Batmans, AJ Brown. You have the 95-yard receptor and the skinny Batman and Devonta Smith. I think that the dynamic that Jalen Hurts brings with Miles Sanders being a 1,000-yard rusher is going to give the Bucs a lot of problems, and I think that this game being in Philly does mean a lot more than it did last year because they were on the road. So I think the Eagles do edge out a win in this game.
All right, so that means that myself, Kevin, and Jaevon all have the 49ers at the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
I'd actually love for our Stats Over Politics podcast. I'm not going to lie.
But Gary
would love that.
I would love that. Like Stephen A. said, he always mentions where he want to be. Obviously, I would not want to be in those two cities. It's cold right now in both of those cities. But if I want to be somewhere, that's what I want to see. You know what I'm saying?
And so the three of us are going with 49ers at Eagles. However, Gary's going with Buccaneers at 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And then on the AFC side, I am the one on an island as I am picking the Bills to advance. I have the Chiefs versus the Bills on a neutral site. Kevin and Gary, they both have the Chiefs versus the Bengals at a neutral site. and Jaevon has the Chargers at the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. So let's just go with our common matchups first, and I'll kick it off with the 49ers at the Eagles. Kevin, you remember when we were having all those debates, like when the 49ers were 3-4 and Trey Lance had gotten hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't playing that well, and Kevin and I, we kept going back and forth in our group chat, and I just kept saying, I know the Eagles won't win the Super Bowl. He was like, okay, but will the 49ers win the Super Bowl? I'm like, I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to put my money where my mouth is on that one. I don't know. Well, at this point I would, but I don't think Kevin would want to take that bet now. Anyways, long story short, I am picking a road team finally again, and I am going to go with my second road win of these playoffs. I'm believing in the hype, in the Brock Purdy experience.
My God.
And, Jaevon, when Trey got hurt and then Jimmy got hurt and you were still very optimistic, I definitely wasn't. But I'm starting to drink that Kool-Aid, and I think
he feels comfortable now.
I do.
Get out of his shell.
I do feel a little more comfortable, just because the thing is about Brock Purdy. Gary, you kept asking us about Brock Purdy.
Rookie of the year, Brock Purdy.
Oh man, I was having a whole discussion with my friend Javier about that, because he was like, I'm putting money on Brock Purdy to win Rookie of the Year, and I was like, you're stupid. Don't do that. Because why? The sample size is too small. But to get to my point about Brock Purdy is, he needs to do not very much. Like, if you look at what Jimmy Garoppolo's playoff statistics were from the year that he led them to the Super Bowl, or even last year when he led them to the NFC Championship game, Jaevon said, it was dog shit. It was really bad. And it was because Jimmy Garoppolo just needed to get the ball into the hands of his playmakers. And I think that Brock Purdy is even better at that, because Brock Purdy has an understanding of, I am just a cog in this wheel. Most quarterbacks want to be the man, be the leader. Brock Purdy, at every single step, so far at least, he's remaining humble, and he's just saying, I'm just trying to keep this team rolling. I'm just trying to do my part. Doing his part is getting the ball out of his hands before Kevin, that nasty Eagles D-line, will get after him. Get the ball out of your hands. Check it down to Christian McCaffrey if you have to. Debo's back. George Kittle's still here. One of the best route runners in the NFL, Brandon Ayuk, he's still here. And I am picking, and that's just the offense. I haven't even talked about the best defense in the NFL. Yes, I know that they had their trouble with the Raiders. It happens. They got the bad game out of the way, so now they can go on this run in the playoffs. Jaevon's showing me the shrug of the sack leader. Nick Bosa, 18.5 sacks. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going with the 49ers to beat the Eagles.
Look at the bass in his voice.
Philly. Oh, I'm excited, Gary.
Copy and paste and put that just the same soliloquy for Vonnie. Copy and paste.
Right? Okay, so yeah, Gary pretty much revealed it right there. Jaevon, I mean,
There's
are you rolling with
this one, guys? Come on now.
Okay,
hold on. Let's just, Kevin. If this matchup happens, I have a very hefty bet for you. If this matchup happens, Niners,
I may want to get in on that one.
NFC Championship game, I have some money for you to bet, sir. Now, Shaun kind of laid out everything. I think Brock Purdy, he definitely should be Rookie of the Year, just based off of his small sample size that's led this Niners team to a second seed in the NFC. You have a George Kittle who's been scoring touchdowns like he's Travis Kelce, like he's not the best tight end in the league. He has 8 touchdowns in the past, I believe it's 4 games. Brandon Ayuk, 1,000-yard receiver. Debo Samuel, albeit he was hurt the majority of the year, is a Pro Bowler in my eyes. Christian McCaffrey, another. You just look, you got Pro Bowlers here, Pro Bowlers there, Pro Bowlers on the defensive line. You got the Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's just too much for the Eagles. It's going to come down all the way to it, and I think I've said this before, we have the coaching, better coach.
Louise right there.
We have the better, I believe, defense. We have the better offense. The Eagles have the better quarterback, yes, in Jalen Hurts. But where else are they better at than the 49ers? I think the Niners are way too hot, and they're going to be rolling and rolling and rolling. And they're going to be rolling on into Philadelphia, and I think they get the win, too. I think they win by a touchdown. I think the Niners do win by a touchdown there.
In my prediction, I think it'll be a lot closer than that, probably like 2, 3, 4 points. But I love the pick. Jaevon is going with the 49ers to beat the Eagles in Philly. So now let's pass it off to our Philly fan and the man who is going to pick those Eagles who are sputtering into the playoffs, to say the least. But Kevin, you're going to pick your team now, right? Just like Jaevon and I just did.
Of course. And, Toddy just throws out stuff but I catch it. I catch everything that Toddy says. He said Pro Bowlers everywhere when it's really like 5 people. We have Pro Bowlers everywhere. Our whole front 7, our front 4, all of our O-line. If they're not a Pro Bowl, they're alternate. That goes with the whole offense. So if you want to talk about Pro Bowlers everywhere, let's pull up the stat, not just the 6 people. Let's make sure it's that. Where are we better at? The quarterback. Honestly, you guys have tight end better than us. We have a better receiving core.
Yeah.
We have a better O-line. Overall, we have a better D-line. Linebacker core, you have it. And the secondary isn't even close. You guys haven't had a chance to play against a scrambling. I think Jalen Hurts is going to come in there. He's going to have a lot of weeks to rehab that shoulder. He's going to have some game film. He's going to be able to go out there and show that he's back to normal. And that's going to really have to slow you guys down. Nick Bosa's not going to be able to just run off the edge. We saw with Micah Parsons early in the season, you're going to have to sit there and count for 2 seconds because you don't know if there's going to be a handoff or if Jalen's going to go around the edge. So I think just him getting back to normal and being in MVP mode is going to make you guys struggle a lot. You guys haven't really played, like I mentioned, haven't played a running quarterback. Kyler's in the division, but he's been hurt. So it's going to be a different dynamic for you guys. So I think that's going to throw you off. And like Toddy mentioned, I pay attention to all the words. We don't play well against star receivers, he said. And we got 2 of them. So I just wanted to throw that out there. He mentioned the Batman.
He does have A.J. Brown.
I think we're going to go out there and it's going to be a show. Tre'Davious Ward and whoever other corner, they had a hell of a run. They got to push DK around and, rah-rah and hoo-hoo, and we're going to have to put it into it. And you know what, Toddy? I haven't even taken your money out of my wallet, my Apple wallet. So we can just keep on throwing money in there. We can just keep on throwing money in there, brother. Whenever you want.
Just keep it in the pot, man. Keep it in the pot.
I'm about to go.
All right.
Shopping spree.
Okay, so Kevin. Kevin is going with his Eagles in that one, and he's just going to leave his money in the Apple wallet. So, Gary, you're the only one who is the outlier here when it comes to the NFC Championship game, as you have the Buccaneers playing at the 49ers. As we talked about earlier when we talked about this potential matchup for Kevin, is that this matchup already happened, and the 49ers were up 28-0 at halftime. So do you think it's going to be a repeat of that, or are you going with the GOAT to have one final run and get number 8?
Oh, guys, you guys really think you're going to slap the GOAT twice in his face? You think you'll slap him on the left cheek and slap him right on the right face? Come on now. I'm going to it's going to be the worst. It's going to be like, they're going to write the story back in Tom Brady's career and be like, in the year he got divorced, everyone thought it was over, and he went back to the bowl. We got Mr. Brady back in the bowl. Everyone's irritated.
He's consistent. I like that.
It's gonna be Mr. Brady. And you know what's so funny? I got a perfect analogy just at the gym. You just just getting in I just be thinking of takes I could say, something that I can, get a little good analogy going. And I thought about this one. I was like, all right, Brock Purdy's taking the biggest test of his career, right? If he's in this game, he's gonna be in the AFC. We all say he's gonna be in the NFC Championship game. It's gonna be the biggest so far it's gonna be his biggest test of his career. And it's funny, he's going to have the least amount of time, obviously, compared probably to any other quarterbacks due to him, coming in the middle of the season due to injury. And, remember in high school, y'all, they used to give us cheat sheets. And, the teacher, if they give you a lot of cheat sheets and stuff like that, you can use during the test. And, Brock Purdy, he got so many good players.
I wish I went to a school that gave me cheat sheets. Shit.
Oh, some classes they'll give you cheat, not all classes. So they say like a math class, whatever. They give you a little index card, and everyone tries to fill it.
That's Sheldon education right there. No, Gary, I know exactly what you're talking about. I just have to talk shit.
Shaun. I know you do something like this.
Index card. You fit whatever you can. Yeah. Fit whatever you can on that index card.
Yeah. His is right now. Brock Purdy's index card has stuff coming out of it. Every corner of it's filled up because he got so much help around him. But it don't matter if you ain't ready for the test. It don't matter. It doesn't matter how much is on that little card. And that's what's going to happen to Brock Purdy here. It's going to be too much to handle at the big moment. It's going to be too much to just gonna be too much. He's not gonna be able to pass the test, guys. This is the biggest test, gonna be hard for us. Sorry to say, it was a good magical little run, and next year you guys are set up again to have a nice run. If you guys get the quarterback situation right, and I'm not saying Brock Purdy can't be the guy of the future. He could be, maybe he could be. I don't know. He still has a lot. He's been proven and been on the right path so far this year. I know he's been killing it ever since. He's been his opportunity he's been taking advantage of it, and you got to give him props for that. But when the time to come, even he said it. He was nervous as hell playing them. When you guys were blowing him out 28-7, he was nervous of the GOAT coming back on him. So you know what? I got the GOAT going to another bowl, and we're just gonna call it the bowl. We're gonna call it the Tom Brady Invitational for this year. It's gonna feel like it because he's been going there too much, too often. So I got Mr. Brady going to the bowl.
The Brady Bowl. All right, Garry, let's just stick with you real quick because on the AFC side, you have the Chiefs versus the Bengals, and that would be played at a neutral site. So that's important to note. Who are you rocking with, the Chiefs or the Bengals in that one?
Oh, baby GOAT revenge. Come on, y'all. We're going to have a 2020 rematch. 2020 rematch. We got the GOAT versus the baby GOAT. I know y'all want to see that again. And this time I'm going to say my pick already, Shaun. Sorry about it. I'm already on the roll here.
No, yeah, go ahead.
We're going to have the baby GOAT getting his revenge for the last Super Bowl, getting his second ring, and say, sorry, Tommy, it's time for the new man to get his era started. We're going to have the Patrick Mahomes era starting. It's tough to say, obviously. He's on the AFC side, so he's going to be whooping me in the behind all the time, all year long. But I got the Patrick Mahomes era start. I forgot we didn't even talk about it. With no MVP debate. I guess I seen it on none of the shows. I'll take this from Nick Wright. I hear him say, no, he was right, though. I didn't see no MVP debates about nothing after this past weekend. I guess it was a wrap. Patrick wins another one. So easy. Put it in the books. Write it in there. So, everyone's just been sleeping. I know they've been boring. They lost Tyreek Hill. They're not having those big plays that everyone loves. But I know y'all seen what they did in that last game. Ring around the Rosie and get a touchdown. Come on now, y'all. It's Super Bowl time for the Chiefs. So I got Mr. Patrick Mahomes having 2 rings on his finger.
And just to set the record straight on that one, Garry, is that we did pick the MVP awards the week that you had to work when we had
I know.
Manny fill in for you. And I just want to say I'm proud of Kevin because you knew he wanted to go with Jalen Hurts on that one, but we were predicting who we think we're going to win. Kevin went with Mahomes. I went with Mahomes. Manny went with Mahomes. Jaevon was actually the only one to go with Jalen Hurts on that one. So we shall see what ends up happening there. And that's why I love this little notepad because I can just reference things so easily. All right, so Garry has the Buccaneers and the Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl, a rematch of the 2021 Super Bowl, and he has the baby GOAT, as he calls Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs getting their revenge.
That's what we're calling it.
The baby GOAT revenge game in the baby GOAT getting the revenge in the so-called Brady Bowl, the Brady Invitational. That would be pretty interesting. So that's what Garry's rocking with. Kevin, I'm going to throw it to you next because you're the other person who has that Chiefs versus Bengals matchup in the AFC Championship game on a neutral site. So Kevin, for you, who are going to play your Eagles?
I think the Bengals do it again 4 times in a row. They just have their number. The Chiefs don't have what it takes to beat the Bengals. Like I mentioned earlier, the Bengals defense is rolling. The Chiefs are going to run into that. Travis Kelce isn't going to be able to save them, I believe. So I got the Bengals advancing.
All right. So Kevin has the Eagles versus the Bengals, and let's just roll with that because I like the way that worked with Garry given his pick. So who are you going with in this one, Kevin? You have the Eagles versus the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Are you going to be a homer here? Or are you going to go with Joe Shiesty?
Hey man, I gotta be a homer. I gotta be a homer. I gotta get a New Jersey. I think the Eagles are gonna do it. We have a defensive front that Joe hasn't really got to see. He's already had some injuries up front, so I think that just plays in our favor. I think we just have a lot going on offensively. They have a lot of weapons, like I mentioned before, with the Batman. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, I think, is just going to be too much to handle. And then that gives Jalen Hurts even more time to get back to MVP form, like I mentioned. So I think we're just going to run away with it, So little baby GOAT or whatever you call him can have a little MVP trophy. We want the trophy at the end.
All right. Well, there you go. Jaevon, you have an interesting go ahead, Garry. Go ahead.
Just real quick, Kev just picked will you think Casey is going to lose back-to-back against the Bengals again and have another bad half again?
Back-to-back.
That's what's happening here. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I hear this here clearly. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. Just making sure it's clear.
The notebook does not lie. All right, so Jaevon, you have the interesting matchup in the AFC Championship game as you're rolling with the Chargers to make it there. So your matchup, Jaevon, hypothetically, is Chargers at Bengals because the Chargers were not involved in any of that home field, neutral field stuff. It would be Chargers at Bengals in Cincinnati. So who are you rocking with in that one, Jaevon?
I got to go with Joe Burrow winning his second AFC championship in a row. I've seen him done it before. He kind of took down the gauntlet last year and going into KC in overtime and winning in KC last year. I think it's going to be a little bit more relaxing here, albeit it's going to be against Justin Herbert, who was in the same draft class as Joe Burrow. There may or may not be some animosity, like, hey, maybe I should have been the number one pick there, and they're kind of going up against each other in the AFC Championship game. But I think the Bengals do edge out a victory here, and they get back to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so Jaevon, that would have you with the 49ers versus the Bengals in the Super Bowl, which is something that we have seen twice before, back in 1982 and 1989. We know who won both of those games. It was the San Francisco 49ers. So is this the Cincinnati revenge game against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, or are you going to be a homer too?
Well, you know what they say. History does repeat itself, Shaun. And in the Super Bowl, the Niners have won the last two matchups. So I'm going to say
against the Bengals, with the 49ers have lost their last two appearances.
This team did play, I believe it was last year, and it was in Cincinnati, and the game did go into overtime. And Brandon Ayuk had the game-sealing touchdown. That game was insane. I was watching at the old TC store, and I was going crazy inside. But I do think this game will be very, very close. But I do have the 49ers winning. Brock Purdy hoisting a Super Bowl trophy? Is Brock Purdy going to be a Super Bowl MVP? Purdy. That's insane. It's never happened. It's never happened, Garry. You're right.
It's never happened. Oh,
it's never happened.
I know. Go ahead, Shaun. Say your point, and then I got something to say.
No, Gary, go ahead.
I gotta be a homer.
No, I need you to finish your point. I already know.
We got the
I want to make sure
we got the politics, but we have to go with the better team. I just think the team is just better. Like you said, Brock Purdy doesn't have to do much. He's got the cheat sheet. He's got the cheat sheet.
He got the cheat sheet. He got the cheat sheet. He got the cheat sheet
all the way down to the Super Bowl. So I think the Niners win. I think the Niners hoist that championship trophy. Wow, it's crazy. It's just Brock Purdy winning.
Well, Jaevon
winning the championship. That's it. It's crazy to say, but I think.
Well, Jaevon, in our YouTube comments, James agrees with you as he says the Niners are winning the bowl. So, Gary, I will give my picks in just a moment, but please respond to Jaevon. It looks like you had something to get off your chest.
No, I'll let you just go. Just go, Shaun. I want to hear your picks.
All right. So, in my hypothetical picks, the AFC Championship game, it would be the Chiefs versus the Bills on a neutral site.
Woo.
And that'll be a good one. And, I think that this is going to be revenge of the Bills. We're sticking with the revenge theme here. I think this will be revenge of the Bills from the AFC the AFC divisional game last year. It wasn't even the championship game. AFC divisional game when it looked like they were going back and forth between Mahomes and Allen, and it looked like the Bills were going to pull it out. And then, the baby goat, he did things that Mahomes does. And so anyways, I just think that because of everything that happened with the Bills and now the fact that it's turning into a positive and a miracle, the fact that DeMar is recovering so quickly and the fact that he is right there behind his team. And even to the point that when he did wake up and out of his coma, he said, did we win the game? And it kind of just shows how important it is for this team to not only win that game against the Bengals, which was a very important game, but obviously the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl. And like we were saying earlier, sometimes in sports, like crazy things just happen, like whether if you want to say that it's like a higher power or whatever, sometimes there are just storybook endings. And for that reason, I think that the Bills are going to defeat the Chiefs. And also the fact that it would be on a neutral site, I'm factoring that in as well. So I'm going with the Bills to beat the Chiefs in my hypothetical AFC Championship game. So that would leave me with the 49ers versus the Bills in the Super Bowl. And if you pay attention to ESPN, that is something that Chris Berman picked as the Super Bowl matchup like 5 years in a row in the 90s. He was just like, I'm going with the Bills and the Niners, again. And that is going to be my Super Bowl matchup, the 49ers versus the Bills. Now that leads to the question, Will I make it 3 for 3? And will I be a homer as well, picking my favorite team to win the Super Bowl? No, I'm not. I'm going to pick the Bills to defeat the 49ers in the Super Bowl because, like I just said, I honestly could see it now. Storybook ending, Bills hoisting the Super Bowl trophy, and Damar Hamlin on that podium, on that stage, right there with his teammates, right there with Josh Allen. And I could see him hoisting the Super Bowl trophy. And I'm going to pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Fucking pessimistic Shaun is what he is.
Pessimistic. Hey, man. Hey, I got the Niners going all the way to the bowl. I could have picked them to lose on the road in Philly. And just shows his commitment. I agree with you. Hey, Josh, I was just about to say, I appreciate it, but you spelled my name wrong. He got it right on the second time. I appreciate you, Josh. Thanks for tuning in. And so, sometimes crazy things happen, and I could just see it happening with the storybook ending, and I'm picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl. So that officially concludes our playoff predictions as we're an hour and 25 minutes into them. I hope you all, I got you, Gary. I hope you all enjoyed our playoff picks. I hope we enlightened you a little bit to try and help you if you are a degenerate bettor, such as myself and Jaevon. But anyways, those are our picks. I'm going with the Bills to win the Super Bowl. Kevin got the Eagles. Jaevon got the 49ers. Gary has the Chiefs.
We all got different picks.
We all got different picks, which is something that I love. Gary, I want to get to you now before we move on to college football.
Nah, I'm just, I was going to say something totally different, Shaun, until your pick just threw me all off. So I'm going to give you props, actually. So I was about to say.
I tried
maybe need to start a petition here. But, I don't know, because I know I wasn't I love their name, don't get me wrong. I wasn't in the name process when I first started this pod. I'm like, maybe we need to change the stats or politics. I got my guys here. I thought I was politicking the whole way. I thought Shaun was about to pick the 9. I was like, we might as well just call it stats or politics. So we got 3 homers sitting right now. But you know what? Shaun threw it off, so it's all good. It's all good. So, and you know what? It's funny that I'm going to give Shaun credit, though, real quick. Shaun actually, a year ago, at the second year, beginning of the Bills with Josh Allen, when there were still questions about Josh Allen, he did say the Bills. He had a lot of confidence in Josh Allen. He's been riding that boat ever since. So I'm actually not shocked that you're picking them over the Niners, even though you love the Niners. But all right, guys. All right, so let's go see. We're gonna see what the predictions fall.
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And as here we are on, and Gary, it's funny that you say that because of the character limit on Twitter, our Twitter @name is actually stats or politics. So that's the funny thing about it. But yeah, and so you guys are all tuned in here on episode number 9 of Stats Over Politics. And before we move on to the college football playoff championship game, I just wanted to get to one more of these YouTube comments from Joshua, who says, I love your guys' podcast. I wait for it every week. Thanks, Hunksters. Keep up the good work. We appreciate you, Joshua. Thank you for tuning in. All right. So now, gentlemen, let's move on to the college football playoff championship game. And that was between number 1 seed Georgia and number 3 seed TCU. As we noted last week, Georgia barely defeated the Ohio State Buckeyes, while TCU, they upset Michigan. Kevin and I, unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of things as we ended up picking the Horned Frogs, who ultimately lost in the college football championship game, 65-7.
Jesus Christ.
One more time. 65-7. By far the worst championship game in the college football playoff era. So, Kevin, I'm going to start things out with you because just like me, you were a believer in the Horned Frogs. But I just want to get your take on this, Kevin. What went wrong for the Horned Frogs? Were they just simply overmatched?
Yeah, it was just simply overmatched. It was from the jump, from the jump all the way to the end. The Georgia even put in their backups, and they were still going at their throat. It was just a lot for TCU all at once, and you can show that the lights got too bright for them. Georgia's been there, and they showed their experience. And I just wanted to throw another crazy stat out there: most points in any bowl game, every bowl game, not just the national championship, all the bowl games, and they did it with 65 points.
Even the Alamo Bowl. Wow.
The good old Alamo Bowl. That was a good one. All right. So Jaevon, you did pick Georgia, and you were rolling with the dogs the whole time, but you did say that you were picking TCU with the points. So, I mean, what went wrong there?
I mean, everything. You kind of watched it early in the game when you saw Georgia just walk down the field and just score. TCU turns the ball over. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a long night. Once you saw TCU turn the ball over and just TCU, just every time they had the ball, you just look up and it was third down. Like, how the hell is it third down over? You just got the ball back. And then you got Georgia just turnover. They're marching down the field. Guys are wide open. They're celebrating. They're putting the shoulder pads on the sidelines. You got Quavo on the sidelines. Obviously, rest in peace, Takeoff. They were both there at the national championship last year. There was no way in hell that Georgia was going to lose this game. I didn't know it would be by this large margin. You kind of saw, for all my bettors out there, Mattress Mac had a grand total of $3 million on the game. That's all gone now, but I don't think Mattress Mac is losing any sleep over $3 million because he did just win $75 million on the Astros. So he said that it's kind of worse to lose a bet when your team ends up getting just blown out versus it going down to the wire and just losing at the last second. A loss is a loss. I did have a 4-teamer, not going to say the dollar amount here, but the last leg on my parlay was the TCU point spread, and you guys know how that went. So rough day for me yesterday. I should have just went with my gut and listened to my own pick on the Stats Over Politics podcast and picked the Georgia Bulldogs.
You're giving out wrong information you ain't even taking, Vaughn. Come on now.
I didn't even take my own information, and that's how you know you live and die by it, guys. You live and you die.
It's okay. You start seeing them numbers and say, oh, we'll win a little more with this one.
There you go. Them numbers. Gary knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary. And so, Gary, I want to just reference one of our YouTube comments here from Joshua where he said TCU didn't show heart in this game. Do you agree with that, Gary? Like, did they just not show up, or did Georgia wanted to make a statement? And to me, they did.
Yeah, I would say more is just you got to give TCU a credit even given there. That's why I kind of don't take the angle of like them just even getting to this point. I feel like they played their best game they could have played last week.
So it's like going into
exactly. So them even getting here. Shout out to our program. I know we sent some stat like they make like billions in media revenue and just coverage over this whole time. So shout out to them really in this aspect, and just TCU really just like I said, I was going to say the point. They played their best game against Michigan. And it's going to be pretty hard to play the best game back to back versus two tough teams. And obviously, we know Georgia played against Ohio State, played a so-so game, but they came out in the clutch moments right there, And I think they just wanted to prove that, stamp themselves as we're back-to-back champs. And right now we have the college throne right now. We know Ohio State, you guys are coming. We know USC might be coming soon here as well. As I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama, is still making some moves there. So, but right now Georgia is back-to-back champs. They're throwing that Drake theme music on, and I just wanted to would just throw that out there. I heard this little, guys know I'm a novice in college football, so I'm just hearing a little different angles about college football and how I see it could be better too. Is I seen Joel Klatt throw something out there. I know it's probably in the works, but I'll see what you guys think about this too. I think they should obviously expand the playoffs. I know they're probably working on it and stuff like that, but I think expanding the playoffs really is going to help all these other teams to get more recruits and stuff like that, because those teams can offer that we have a chance to make the national championship. So I feel like that's going to be a little bit more spreading the love around maybe in some situations. So I feel like that would just be helpful and just get more dogs in the race. I feel like, getting more teams, just like the NFL UC had more, every Sunday type of feeling. I feel like that if they give that college feeling more of that feeling, obviously it's football that everything can happen anytime. But we can see though, when you got some big dogs and you got some NFL players on your squad, it's a totally different matchup in college football. It's really men versus boys, and you don't want to disrespect TCU out there because obviously they showed and played their heart out all season long. But there's levels to this, like Meek Mill just says, the levels to this shit, young boy. And I hope we can get the level more equal here. So that's all I would say about this college football matchup.
And Jaevon, I know that you have something that you want to say on that and touch up on something that Gary just said, but I do as well. And I just want to say, Gary, in regard to where you said that spreading the love in terms of recruits, I think it would more so spread love in terms of giving more teams hope, because there will be more teams who can get into the dance. So it'll give more teams hope, but I don't think it'll necessarily help with the recruits so much when it comes to expansion, just because we tend to see pretty much it's Ohio State, Georgia and Alabama up at the top of the recruiting, and they're always bringing in the 5-star guys. And it's those 3 schools, really. I mean, Clemson used to be in there, a little Texas A&M, but it's really those 3 schools that are at the top of the list when it comes to recruiting. And so I feel like those 3 will probably remain far and away at the top, but it'll give more teams hope that they could actually be like TCU and at least get to the championship game, because regardless, this is a season that TCU fans should remember fondly for the rest of their lives. And so, Jaevon, did you want to make a comment about that as well?
I mean, yeah, I kind of wanted to add a little bit more to what you said about the spreading the love. We saw what happened when they spread the love. 65-7 is what happened when they spread the love. The Cincinnati game against Alabama last year, that was a blowout. We saw what happened when they spread the love. I mean, we can even go back a couple of years back, the COVID year, when Notre Dame got in with Shaun's boy, Ian Book. They got blown out by Clemson.
El Dorado Hills.
So we see what happens when they spread the love. Yes, when they expand the playoff, it's going to be more games. It's going to be a little bit more exciting, but I feel like the end result is going to be the same. This is a reason why I thought Bama should have gotten in. We saw TCU get blown out by however much, but they ended up, going, toe to toe with Michigan. The recruiting, I think it's going to stay the same. I think it's the cream of the crop is all in the SEC. I think that's where the majority of where the NFL drafts all of its players. That's kind of where everybody usually comes from. And I think you'll see a lot more SEC guys or just the top recruiting classes are going to be, you're going to have your Ohio State. You're going to have Georgia, Alabama. I think Clemson's always going to be in there. Michigan's usually sometimes somewhere in there. I think we're going to start seeing LSU a little bit more in there with Brian Kelly coming from Notre Dame, and he's going to, use his recruitment skills there. So I think we'll see a little bit of LSU. You still have, we already said Alabama. I mean, you got guys coming into the SEC with who's coming into the SEC? I think it's next year. I think it's
Oklahoma and Texas.
Oklahoma and Texas. So you got Texas is usually up there in the recruiting skill, and they're getting those 5 stars already, I think. So you're going to see that development there. So I think it's going to be a lot of the same things. I think you're going to still see Ohio State. You're still going to see LSU, or not LSU, Alabama. You're going to see Ohio State, those guys in the playoff, because they always get the best guys. So I think it's usually just going to stay the same, to be honest.
Okay, so Kevin, I'm just wondering, is everyone saying that Georgia's the new dynasty? Georgia has replaced Alabama as the kings of college football. So do you see this being sustainable and Kirby Smart now running college football rather than Nick Saban? I mean, Nick Saban did not look happy on those pregame shows. The fact that his team didn't even get into the playoff.
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing the next dynasty. Like Toddy mentioned on a previous episode, they're putting out pros every year. So a lot of these guys who had a big impact this season sat the bench last season on the road to the national championship. So it just goes to show that you can just switch out teams and they're just going to continue to have the success. They had 5 first. They set the record last year in the draft with 5 first-round picks. So they just keep bringing on different guys, and they just a factory over there. So I can definitely
a couple
see
of Georgia
them.
Boys on your team, I think.
Oh, just a couple, man. Just nothing too crazy. So definitely, just it's going to become a factory, and I definitely see this becoming the next dynasty.
For sure. And
do you guys think Ohio State would have beaten the Georgia? Or you guys would think they would have won the national championship if you guys?
Yes.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Do you believe that in your heart?
You know what?
You
know why I think that Ohio State would have beaten TCU, unlike that team up north? It's because our QB wouldn't have thrown 2 pick-sixes to give the game away. That's why. That is why to me, Michigan lost that game more so than TCU did. Oh, yeah, you got me going. To me, Michigan lost that game more so than TCU won it. Yes, TCU did play really well in that game, but Michigan damn near handed that game away. They made so many mistakes. The mistakes that they did not make when they came to the shoe and they beat the brakes off the Buckeyes. Ohio State was a kick away from being national champions, and that's just it seems like
wait, kick from y'all didn't win the
Garry,
to beat Georgia.
Yeah, Gary, Ohio State missed a field goal to win the game against Georgia. So if they make that field goal, they beat Georgia, and then they play TCU.
They put up 65 on them?
I don't know. I don't know if they put 80. Up 65, but okay. I mean, I was gonna say at least 40, but yeah, and also condolences to our man James who bet TCU as well.
It's tough.
It is tough. Hey, Jaevon, there's two
don't
words
do what
for
if
it.
too much.
Oh yeah. Jaevon, you know what it is? It's 2 words. What is it?
It's a cold world.
It's a cold world. It's a cold world out here. All right, guys. Now let's close things out as we're running out of time. And let's close things out with the Sacramento Kings, who in the last week, the Kings did go 1-2. So it wasn't the greatest. The Kings did lose at home.
Finessed.
Okay, well, this first one, I don't know if they necessarily got cheated. I was there, and it didn't really seem like it. And that was the Kings losing to the Hawks 120-117 last Wednesday night. And then the Kings, they may have gotten cheated against the Lakers, like Jaevon said. Domantas Sabonis was getting hit with uppercuts and right elbows. But anyways, the Lakers do defeat the Kings 136-134. And then the Kings, they get a big bounce back win last night as they absolutely beat the brakes off of the Orlando Magic 136-111. And I thought that was a big step for the Kings to get that 25-point win against the Magic, because if you guys recall, the last time that these two teams played towards the beginning of the season, it took a De'Aaron Fox three-pointer to beat the Magic. And in this one, the Kings beat them by 25, which I think is a big positive. So, Gary, I'm going to kick things off here with you when it comes to the Kings. How are you feeling about the Kings after this last week? You know, it wasn't the most positive week, but they ended on a good note as far as our week goes.
I think the Kings did pretty good. Like we said, the Atlanta game was a tough game. Trae Young hit some pretty good shots in the fourth quarter, showing why he's a superstar. Those nip and tuck. The funny thing is, you guys know we've been nip and tucking a lot of ball games, a lot of like 1 possession games, 2-3 possession games, and stuff like that. So I know people are probably irritated and losing a few of those, but I feel like we got a couple of those too in the winning streak. So it's kind of balance itself out, and also I kind of like how we're getting tested. Obviously, we'd love to blow everyone out and be a landslide, obviously, but that's not just the reality of the Kings situation. They have to build up to that status and learning how to put teams away. So I think they're building towards that status and be able to just put teams out early like they should. Like Shaun said, it was a good sign that we beat that young team. That Magic has a lot of young talent that I can't wait to watch later on. But them just putting them out early and just knowing what to do. And, main thing I've been preaching this whole time, and, every Kings fan I think knows it, and all the Kings players know it themselves, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty obvious. Coach has been preaching it. It's defense. Defense is going to take this team as far as they want to go. 71 points, I think 70-plus points to Lakers. Then they hit a 3 in the second half was one horrible stat. I know they gave a bad taste in everyone's mouth when they lost to the Lakers. And obviously, it was a tough one. You can call foul. No call all the tickets tapped on Dennis Schroeder getting fouled by Fox, and the other end, Fox getting fouled on the 3. You can always nip and tuck, but the game never comes down to the last winning moments. And I hate to blame the referees. I'm just happy that this last past game they're starting to get back to playing some help defense in the paint, but not helping too much and forcing people to shoot on top of them. So I like where the Kings are headed. We already know consistency. I feel like kind of a broken record with the Kings because I know we love talking about them and stuff like that. But again, consistency is going to be the key with these guys. We're sitting in a perfect spot right now. We're sitting actually, guys, the best spot. Like we're feeling real good. I just checked again. Like I think about 1.5 games or 2 games in the 5th seed above the Warriors in the 6th seed right now. We're like 1 game back from the 4th seed. So. We're sitting in a good spot as long as we can keep winning a couple. If we lose a couple, it's okay. Hopefully, it's we just don't want to lose in a way where it's taking 10 steps backwards. And I think that's the key right now for the Kings. We could take 1 step forward, but 2-3 steps forward, but take no steps backward. And I think that's what Coach Mike Brown's probably just the overall messaging to the team.
So our guy James in the YouTube comments, he makes me feel a lot better about myself because some of my friends have been giving me shit saying that I'm bad luck when it comes to the Kings. I've been to 7 games this year. The Kings are 3-4 in the 7 games that I've been to. But James makes me feel a lot better because James said I've been to 5 Kings games this season and we lost them all. I guess James is the bad luck. James do me a favor. James, stay away from the Golden One Center. We like to see the beam lit, and with you there, apparently it just doesn't happen. Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Real quick, I think he missed this part last week, but We took Shaun's King's card away for a couple days. We just handed him back today to him. We handed it back to him. I don't know if Kev. I don't know if he missed that.
I know
he had to take care of a dog. I know he had to take care of a
man.
dog. You know, he had some dog duties, but we gave Shaun back his card today.
I 100% agree with you, Shaun.
Hey, all right, let's go.
That
was a shocker.
I'm 100% the same way.
Oh no, that's why that clip wasn't posted.
Kevin was rooting for the Lakers on Saturday night.
No, I'm not rooting for him, but I'm wearing a LeBron jersey for sure.
And the thing is about that, Kevin, that
who do you want to win though?
The Kings.
Shaun
I want the Kings to win, but I'm for sure wearing the LeBron jersey.
Oh no, okay, no. The main thing Shaun said, will you be cheering for LeBron every time he makes a bucket though?
Yo,
I was cheering.
Every time he drinks water, every time he ties his shoes. Hey man, I'm gonna be on the sideline with a jersey on the sign.
I have pretty good seats to the Kings games, and LeBron had that and one, and I'm a diehard Kings fan. I'm a diehard LeBron fan. But I always said LeBron gave me more happiness to the Kings ever did in my life. I was born in '98. We ain't win nothing since. Or when I can be visible to see games a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, I was not rooting for LeBron on the N1. I was really mad. I was like, no.
And when Lauri Markkanen almost hit a game winner on the Kings, I was hoping that he missed. And he did miss, and he airballed it, and I loved it, and I cheered for it. But you're damn right that for every single one of those 36 points, I was cheering the whole entire time.
Shaun,
and Kevin,
don't be pumped up now because someone's helping you. Last week, you were saying it's all good. We were giving me and Vaughn credit.
Exactly. Like Kevin said, he's my people.
I was watching it screaming at the TV. I had you back, Shaun.
I appreciate it, Kevin. Yeah, that's the thing. And also the last thing I'll say about this is that was the key difference that I mentioned. Is it's like I was not wearing a Lauri Markkanen Chicago Bulls jersey or a Cavs jersey or a Jazz jersey. I was wearing a fucking Finland jersey. It would be like wearing.
I know you wouldn't say that though in the NFL aspect. I know none of y'all will be saying the NFL aspect. Then the whole conversation is going to change and rock on my team no matter what.
What do you mean?
So you used to be a Christian McCaffrey fan before. You would have won a Christian McCaffrey Panthers jersey if they played the Panthers in the Niner Stadium. Come on, Vaughn. You feel me on that one? He's not doing that. You're not cheering for him.
Garry, I just want you to know that I was about to go stand up and grab my Christian McCaffrey Stanford jersey because no, I would not buy a Christian McCaffrey Panthers jersey. I still need to get my
Panthers. That's why I said Panthers.
And that was what we made clear there. It's just like Kevin would wear a LeBron jersey, but it would be a St. Vincent St. Mary's.
No, he said he'll wear Lakers. He said he'll wear Lakers. He just said
my Laker. I got 3 Laker ones. I got a couple Cavs ones. I got a Heat one.
You're telling me I got a couple. I got ones.
Word, Garry. Garry.
I just wouldn't wear it versus him. I just wouldn't. I'm coming out in Kings gear versus the Lakers.
You wouldn't. LeBron. You wouldn't wear it for another reason, and we're gonna leave it at that. But Joshua says that LeBron isn't the GOAT; he's the phony GOAT. Ooh. Oh shit! And we're gonna have to leave that one there as well. Just real quickly, Jaevon, I want to get your thoughts on the Kings last week as they lose to your boy Trae Young. He made him shiver a little bit, and then the Lakers as well. Laker fans, they were talking. Laker fans, I swear to God, they were getting on my nerves as they always do. But they were talking. Where's the beam? Oh, where's the beam? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they were like, oh yeah, all y'all Kings fans go home. Blah 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 blah. No beam. Be sad. But it's like, what happened the other 2 games that the Kings played the Lakers this season? They just don't want to talk about it. The fact that the Kings are still up 2-1 in the season series against the Lakers. I need to stop myself because I'm supposed to be the host.
He's fired up.
I'm fired up. I'm fired. You guys keep giving me topics that are firing me up and get me out of my monotone state. Yeah, anyways, Jaevon, I just want to get your thoughts on this because we got to wrap things up.
Well, I thought the Kings just got outplayed against the Atlanta Hawks. Julian, who's a Cowboys fan, he's also a Hawks fan too. I think their whole starting 5 or close to their starting 5 had at least 20 points. So that was kind of the nail in the coffin there. To go back to Saturday night, I thought the game kind of went down to the wire. LeBron did have 37 points in that game. Kevin's boy, and Gary's boy as well. I think that when the game was tied and De'Aaron Fox was playing tremendous defense on Dennis Schroeder, and he went up for a layup. De'Aaron's hands are to his side. They called a foul when Dennis Schroeder went up for a layup. and it was bad because you kind of saw, and they even reviewed the call. And when they reviewed the call, they said, "Yep, call stands. He's shooting too." And it kind of sucks because the Kings that was their final timeout, and they used it on their challenge, so they didn't get a chance to advance the ball. That kind of led them with only 3 seconds to dribble down the court and kind of heave up a prayer there. So last night, or I believe, yes, it was last night, the Kings beating the Orlando Magic, that was the 4th team on my parlay that I mentioned earlier in the week, or earlier in the show. I knew the Kings were going to beat the Orlando Magic. Got pretty good odds there, and I was kind of hopeful that I was going to come down to it, and the Kings ended up winning by 20 points. I think they set a record for the most 3-pointers in franchise history with 23 3-pointers, and the Kings are sitting at 5th. Shaun mentioned that a whole bunch of Laker fans were talking smack about where's the beam at. The Kings are number 1 in the Pacific Division. I did look that up. They're 20-18. They are. I don't know who's in second.
They're a game up. They're a game up on the Clippers.
Yeah, I believe it's the Clippers who did win tonight. They are sitting at 5th in the Western Conference. Maybe I need to walk. Do I need to walk back my standard, my statement of the Kings aren't going to be a top 6 seed? I'm going to hold off there. But right now,
only one person said they were. That's crazy.
And I'm going to hold off there. But I do think the Kings. I think the Kings are going to go places. They gotta get back on track from going 1-2. But this is the right way to do it, by going and beating the Orlando Magic.
And Kevin, just to set the record straight, Garry did say yes that he does think the Kings will finish as top 6 seed. So Kevin and Garry, I mean, it wasn't the hell yes that you gave us, Kevin, but Garry did say yes.
And first of all, I was wondering, I remember some HB slander in the beginning of the year. I forgot from who, but just want to leave that there. I don't know. Was it Kevin or Shaun? Was one of y'all?
Probably Kevin. Kevin was ready to trade. You can ask Toddy. I'll put him in every trade scenario.
It's HB and Rashawn
You
Holmes.
Can't trade HB, my guy. That's the only guy we got being vet.
And Rashawn Holmes, and they'll get LeBron, according to Kevin. That's all.
And quick to Joshua, me and my brother have been saying tank for Bronny since he's been in freshman. So it's still going. Tank for Bronny. Nah, I don't want to tank for him no more. Hopefully we can just get him. I'm telling you, LeBron, I don't know if I said this before on the pod. Bron, perfect. We get you stake ownership in the Kings. King owns the Kings. 1 hour flight to LA. You ain't got to stay in South. You can live in LA. They'll drive. You can have an hour flight all the time. Perfect. See your kids, live your life back on the beach. Perfect. It's gonna be perfect for him. That's what I'm saying. So
Garry said, LeBron, you don't even gotta live in Sacramento. That's the best part about it.
You ain't gotta live in Sac. We got so many times. Your first game, your first bucket,
to practice
first bucket and everything. Wow. Exactly. They're gonna send everything for the product. They're gonna do everything when Bron was here. Oh my God.
All right, gentlemen, just to wrap things up when it comes to the Kings, let's get back to making some predictions. And I feel good about making these predictions, or at least I hope we do, because the thing is that the Kings play 3 games against teams from Texas in the next week. 2 home games against the Rockets, and then they go to San Antonio and they play at the Spurs on Sunday. So Jaevon says 3-0. Garry says 3-0. Kevin says 3-0.
Kevin always
I say 3-0. Yeah,
Kevin is undefeated every
Hey, Kevin Corder, we haven't lost a game all year, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, just like so Kevin's the one to think that the Kings will go undefeated. Jaevon was the one to think the 49ers were going to be undefeated. Let's see. I mean, it turned out quite well. Let's keep the positivity going. Going. As the Kings, they play at home against the Rockets tomorrow night, then against the Rockets at home on Friday night, and then in San Antonio on Sunday. What's up, Garry?
You got to put Joshua's caption. He in line. I will drive LeBron to the game if he comes to the sack. I'll drive you, LeBron. I'll take a 6-hour trip. Don't worry. Just pay me a little chicken, and I'll be right there.
Oh, yeah. You'll get paid.
I'll get paid. Nice.
It's going to just come out of his game check. You're not even going to notice it.
It's all good.
And Garry, Garry said that he will be the pilot of LeBron's airplane because let's be clear that he's going to be living in LA.
Kevin.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Kevin's the pilot.
There you go. Kevin's the pilot, and Garry will pick him up at the airport, and he'll drive him right to the Golden One Center to see that beam. All right, guys, this has been a great episode. our NFL predictions took up a lot of the time, but I hope everyone enjoyed it as we wrap up episode number 9 of Stats Over Politics. Gary, you wanted to say one more thing?
Last thing, I know we got 5 minutes before we head out here. We didn't get I gotta leave a last note, obviously, on my Pittsburgh Steelers real quick. I don't know if Shaun was gonna give me any time to, say a few words for the peacemaking for the end of the year. I know you guys all have
Where
a lot
y'all in
more.
the draft?
You guys all, I don't even know. I checked earlier. I was gonna look. I think we're like top 16 or something like that, 15. I don't even know, but it's all good. What did the Steelers fans say? I just want to because all you guys are so lovely. Get the playoffs, all getting ready for popcorn to get bubbled up. But I just want to say we're proud of my team. We're not into losing. I'm not happy with this year because all we compete is for championships. You know what I'm saying? We had 6, but we could tie for the most, other than Brady having 7 himself. I think we're looking good for next year. So be on the lookout for next year.
What's your record?
We're gonna build a fence for Pickett. Fence for Pickett, and we're gonna be coming back. Shout out to Mike Tomlin, man, keeping the glue together. Still over 500 after starting 2-7, ending the year right. And we know we got some good things to look out for next year. So I don't want to hear no slander over that. Y'all better be ready for next year. I'm telling y'all right now.
Well, if Kenny Pickett is still your starting quarterback, I'm not going to be too worried. But hey, this is the biggest stat of the night for me. Mike Tomlin, 16 seasons, 0 seasons with a losing record. And that's in the same breath to mention something that we haven't even mentioned yet because we ran out of time. Cliff Kingsbury, he got canned by the Cardinals. Lovie Smith, he got fired by the Texans. I feel bad for Lovie. I don't feel bad for Cliff Kingsbury at all. But anyways, and it just
Patriots
shows that
doing their due diligence on Cliff Kingsbury.
Of course they are. What is he going to be? Is he going to be the offensive coordinator now and replace Matt Patricia? Is that what's going on?
Matt Patricia, the offensive coordinator, is nuts.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for episode number 9 of Stats Over Politics. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. We got to get a Facebook up and
Kev,
running.
you got those socials? Can you give them those socials?
Yeah, Kev, give us the socials. Let us know the socials.
Man,
where can people find us?
We worldwide like a pandemic, man. You can find us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you can find us. Everywhere you can find a podcast, go find us. Leave us a review. 5 stars. It goes a long way. Leave a like. It costs nothing to do that. Leave us a repost. We really appreciate it.
Yep. And I was going to say, too, send us questions, send us topics you guys want to hear from us. Appreciate all the love. Kev said that right. We got to put that on a little replay. He said, worldwide like the pandemic. Hold on now. That's a bar.
T-shirt.
Yeah, and just like Gary was saying, on all of those social platforms that we have, you can search for us at Stats Over Politics. And like Gary mentioned, we've had a lot of great questions come in through the YouTube comments that we couldn't get to. So if you got any ideas for topics and questions, send them to us on social media, especially on Instagram, so it's not just Wes and Kevin going back and forth in our Instagram DMs. And thank you, Josh, for leaving us a review. We really appreciate it. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for episode number 9 of Stats Over Politics. For Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent, and Gary Singh, I am Shaun Holko. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Just like Kevin said, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. Give us those 5 stars. We would really appreciate it. We want to keep growing those numbers. We love seeing the analytics. We want to see it keep going. We appreciate you all, and we'll catch you all next Tuesday on another episode. That's
peace.